start out with Mark Crawford. He'll be discussing the employee health insurance, giving an overview to the board. Mark, thank you very much for coming.
You ready? You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so Stan, how's this?
Perfect.
What do you say right here? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Mark Crawford, we're the benefit advisors in Lake Placid. We're the town's benefits broker and consultant. We've been working with the town of Ticonderoga for at least 10 plus years now. We specialize in municipalities. We work with all the towns in Essex County and also Essex County itself. So we're very familiar with the needs of public sector employers like the town of Ticonderoga. My objective tonight is to just run through the health insurance and what we're looking at for the renewal for next year. And I also want to touch a little bit on healthcare reform before we go on that. So I'm going to work off this agenda I gave you. First thing that's on the agenda has to do with just a quick healthcare reform update. The healthcare reform comes with some employer penalty exposure if you're considered a large employer, if you have more than 50 employees. The large employer penalty exposure that exists out there is actually being pushed back to 2015. So large employers that have more than 50 employees aren't going to be exposed to penalties in 2014. That's one of the latest developments that came out 2 or 3 months ago. But when we talk about penalty exposure, if the town of Ticonderoga is kind of on the cusp, are we large or not? Are we large? It depends on how we do the actual counting. But the employer penalty exposure is only if you're offering unaffordable insurance to your employees, and if your plan doesn't meet a certain minimum value. So if the town of Ticonderoga is considered a large employer, you don't really have any exposure as long as you're meeting those criteria. I'll label that on the agenda. Plus, we have to. Oh, the other area we have to. Large employers have to offer health insurance to those that average 30 hours or more per week. Okay, so that's another one. That all got pushed back to 2015.
Well, that's good.
So yeah, a lot of large employers are happy with that. But some of the changes for 2014 that are going to take effect, employers can't have more than a 90-day waiting period for new hires. They have to be offering insurance. We're fine there. Also, the health plans can't deny anybody because of pre-existing conditions. And our plans here for years and years and years have always had pre-existing conditions exclusion, meaning you could get on this plan and not have to worry about pre-existing conditions. We've had a certain waiver, I guess, on this program, so we've always met that. One new one is that health plans in the United States now have to have an out-of-pocket maximum, like a worst-case scenario for an individual on the plan. The most an individual can spend on a plan out of their own pocket in terms of copays or deductibles is $6,350. So that's going into effect for 2014. Also, the New York State Health Insurance Exchange is open for business as of October 1st. There's a new individual market that exists for health insurance. Generally speaking, in New York State, health insurance has always been employer-based. But now there's this new market that's available to people who may be uninsured or who aren't offered affordable insurance at their employer. So that's up and running. As of it will be up and running January 1st. It will be effective January 1st, but they're doing enrollments right now. How am I doing, Wayne? With respect to the health insurance renewal as it relates to the town of Ticonderoga, the increase for 2014 with Excellus Blue Cross is 11.3% on the premiums for the high deductible health plan. On the copay only plan, we have a few people on the copay only plan. That's going up 13% for next year. All of Excellus Blue Cross's groups that are in your segment, mid-segment, which we want to call between like 50 and 100 eligible, you all have the identical rate increase. So the rate increase here would be the same for a similar size group, whether it's the Village of Potsdam or Village of Lake Placid. It's not driven by your own unique experience, it's driven by the pools.
Right.
Okay? Now the county's a different story. So when we look at your plan, what the employer pays, the employer cost increase for 2014 based on the current two options being offered, if we just maintain the status quo, would be about $44,000 a year. By converting everybody to our high deductible health plan, where we have some funding going on to help people meet that deductible, whether it's through a health savings account or a flexible spending account. By converting all those people into this program, the increase for next year is going to be closer to $14,000. And I did a little an accounting there for you so you can see it, the difference. So this is a relatively good year, good news on the health insurance for the town and its employees.
Oh, better than last year's news.
Yeah, last year was a
We were budgeting what, for 9% or 10%? It was a 16?
16.
Okay.
So for 2014, our plan of attack is we're a conversion of everybody to, that's our desired plan of attack is to convert everybody to the high deductible health plan. And some people don't qualify. The reason this hasn't happened before is the high deductible health plan has been, right now, is funded with a health savings account, an actual bank account we put money into. And certain people are ineligible to have a bank account. If you're on Medicare, the federal government prohibits you from going to open one of these bank accounts. If your spouse participates in a flexible spending plan, like a cafeteria plan, another employer, it prohibits you from having this health savings account. So the solution for next year is those people who are enrolled in this high deductible health plan are going to be given a choice. They can take the money in the bank account that we've been doing for a couple of years now, or they can have it put into a flexible spending account where they can draw on the funds on a tax-free basis to pay for their deductibles on the plan. Now, the nice thing about the health savings account is they own it. It rolls over every year. The flexible spending is use it or lose it. And we're having an education meeting on November 6th, I think, to review the programs with everybody and how they work, the mechanics. And we've been just, I've been in Von Carla and Sue and Deb. We have in Wayne, we have these kind of seminar every couple of months. We have meetings to meet with the union people, to review the benefits and kind of give updates with respect to the insurance and healthcare reform, etc. For those who are interested in healthcare reform, I put a little. We created a kind of a roadmap for healthcare reform here. Kind of projects out in the future what's coming. So that's in here. It's like a ski trail map. We put our new company brochure. On the right-hand side, we put the actual snapshot of your current rates and what they're going to and alternatives and so forth. If you want to look at that now real quick, I think. So on the right-hand side of your floor here, you have Steve. It looks like this. We put your two current plans on the left-hand side with pricing. And then you'll notice that Excellus Blue Cross has alternatives too. If you wanted to go to a higher deductible on the high deductible health plan, we can do so. But I think people are getting familiar and really getting used to the plan design we have now on the high deductible, so I make a recommendation to continue with our deductible level as we have it now.
Okay.
The second page, we just to give you an idea of what other carriers are coming in with quotes. NYSHIP, the New York State Health Insurance Plan, which is the largest consortium in New York State for municipalities to purchase health insurance. We want to give you an idea of what their rates were. On the second page, along with Blue Shield in Northeastern New York, and also MVP. I think for the town and its employees, the Excellus Blue Cross with the network provider access, the continuity of care, I would make a strong recommendation to continue with Excellus Blue Cross for next year.
Well, that's what I was curious to see, what the NYSHIP alternatives would be, and if it would be a better, more value or more affordable for the employees. But it looks like our town offering is better for them all around.
Right. And I think once the employees, this health savings account is going to work out pretty good for some of these employees who build up these account balances and carry them over every year.
Oh, yeah, it's a great way for them to save. So what's the incentive for Americans or people to sign up for the night shift? Is this...
There's counties out there that just union contracts are locked into that. Larger municipalities who are experience rated, maybe they have really bad claims, they have a sicker population, their rates aren't as good as yours, so the night shift looks favorable to them when they enroll. Any questions?
So I guess another question I'd have is, how is this affordable health care actually affordable to not town employees, but senior citizens or uninsured young families?
I think it's the affordable was kind of a misnomer, but the whole healthcare reform and the Affordable Care Act, to me, it's more about access to care. Now, it's not so much about lowering cost. The New York State Health Insurance Exchange, now people can go buy their own individual policies through the state on this exchange. And the premiums are relatively competitive. They're not as competitive as usually what you can buy on a group basis, and you're paying with after-tax dollars. But it is an outlet for a lot of people now who never had insurance, maybe who are pre-existing conditions, to actually access coverage. I don't see any employees here opting out of your plan and going to the exchange. But it is a nice for people who are potentially uninsured. The federal government, if you meet certain income guidelines, is going to pay a good portion of your premium in these exchanges, individual market. And so for lower income people, it offers some premium savings to them.
Mark, some of your bigger clients that you handle, have any of them postured themselves or made any major changes in their format, anticipating the healthcare reform?
At this point, some of our private sector, public sector, but private sector is concerned about penalties. They don't want to be dinged any penalties. They want to make, so they've adjusted some of the cost share. More and more employers are paying just towards a single, right? They're focusing all their emphasis on the single. Let's pay 90% of the single, and let's back off on the families because they can go to this exchange. That's I'm starting to see that with employers. Let's take care of our employee and their spouses. There's Child Plus for the kids, and there's a new outlet for the exchange for the spouse. I've seen that. We talk about that.
But no one's actually doing that?
No one's, it's more for discussion purposes. Okay. And the exchanges are so new right now, this individual market. I don't know if you've been online trying to check it out, but the websites, it would take you hours and hours to get through, try to sign up for something. So I think a lot of people are maybe just wanting to, a lot of wait and see.
I see.
Yes, Dave?
The 30 hours a week is annually, not weekly, correct?
Correct. Well, there's an average, there's a measurement period. At some point, we're going to have to identify a measurement period. And most employers are going to average it out over you have to choose between a 3 and 12-month period. So we're going to measure it based on an annual, it's going to be an annual, ultimately.
Yeah, because we have summer employees, so theoretically, if they work over 30 hours, it won't be weekly when you take it on an annual basis.
Any sort of what we call variable hour employees who don't, they come part-time or seasonal, we put them through that measurement period and we average it out, and they would never meet 30 hours.
Yeah.
So we're fine there.
Good.
Now, I see on the front page here of this, the agenda, just so folks are aware of what the costs are. 2014, between the premiums and HSA funds, this is the town's expected contribution for.
Yeah, that's what the town's paying.
$457,785.
Correct.
For 2014. I just thought it was important for people to know what the cost of health care is for the town. Yeah. And good news is that it's only an 11% increase over last year. So,
on the premium.
Which is on the premium is $13,580. Okay. Dental rate change up 9%.
We have a voluntary dental plan. Employers are paying towards it. It's going up 9%. And the vision, which it does, has a lot of value. It's going up 5%, but it's such a 5% on $6 is not a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's good that it's available. Terrific. Anybody have any questions? Any questions for Mark?
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
We also appreciate it, have the rates come in right before budget time too. So
Perfect, isn't it? I wish I could take credit for it, but I can't.
Thanks for all your help
You're welcome. Thank you.
throughout the year, not just tonight. Thank you. Sign-in sheet. You know what, we're not going to observe the sign-in sheet tonight. We want to, everybody should have an opportunity to speak, whether you're signed up or not, and we want to make sure everybody's heard and to their satisfaction. Is anybody here specifically for the water issue? Because we'd like you to be heard and answer questions as, okay. Oh, and you have to be first on those. Go right ahead, Bill.
Okay, first thing, it's been in the press and other places that Ticonderoga is under a mandate or an order from the Department of Health to drill wells. Where can someone...
That's not to drill wells. In the news, oh, you're talking about the recent newspaper article?
To cover our
another thing.
storage, to cover our storage
That had-
area, and then to deal with the diametraceous earth in the clear well at Lake George. That's what we're under consent order for.
Whereas, in
There-
order to comply with the orders of the New York State Department of Health, the town must initially investigate the potential for and develop a groundwater well source which will include well drilling. In order to comply with the orders, that's what you're basing this $2.7 million bond on, but the order doesn't exist?
Now, the order is to either replace or upgrade our systems. The consent order, and that is how the town is
The orders-
is proceeding.
Develop a groundwater well source, and which will include well drilling.
That's how we are going to comply with the mandated upgrades or replacement,
That's how
part of the IUP.
the board made that decision, not the Department of Health.
No, if you're referring to what was in the newspaper, if you notice the article
referring to what's in the
contradicted
resolution.
itself.
I'm referring to what's in the resolution you passed. Is the information in the resolution false?
I don't know.
Is
where we're
there
going
an
with
order from the New York State Department of Health which says Ticonderoga has to develop a groundwater well source which will include well drilling? Does that order exist?
I told you the consent order is the covered storage and clear well.
That's my understanding, but what I don't understand is how we can base a $2.7 million loan to Ticonderoga on information that is not correct. And I would like to request that we've drilled the test wells, okay? Let's stop right here, and let's get a second opinion of how we want to develop our water system. There's a good amount of scientific information that says surface water is at least as viable a source as wells, if not better. We have two sources, two pristine sources of surface water that need repair and correction. I would respectfully request that the board stop at this point before we spend this $2.7 million that we may not even need, and get a second opinion on our engineering studies that have been done to be sure that the cost associated and estimated with the repair of the filter plant, the repairs gooseneck are actually the accurate costs that some believe. Some don't believe. Let's, is it gonna be, is it worth spending another 2.7, we spent, what, 350, I don't know what the last two wells are gonna cost. We were at 248, so, we gotta be around 300, 350. Is it worth spending another 2.7 to go forward with wells that we may not need? I mean, if we were this ill, if someone gave us this, you're talking about doing away with Lake George. I know you're going to hold it in abeyance, but you're giving up the Lake George water source. Okay, that's like taking out your left lung, in my opinion. When do we get a second opinion?
Our second opinions and third and fourth and fifth opinions began in 2009. You're making it sound like it's a brand new development. This has been going on with some of the best experts in the region for a couple of years now. Your scientific information, I don't know where you're getting it from, but this board, since 2009, has been going with the guidance from educated, qualified engineers, hydrogeologists. The New York State Department of Health has been guiding us along, lawyers, finance agencies. That is the professional scientific information that this board has ultimately made their decision after going through with the engineers and all these other people I mentioned, 6 or 7 potential options along the way. And all of the information and all of the different options that we had led to this decision for safe, affordable, quality, and in quantity water for the people. This board chose to go with the scientific expertise of proven experts, and many of them in the region. It's not a brand new, you're bringing it up as a brand new issue. Your scientific information, I'm sorry, I, as a town supervisor, darn sure will go with 10 or 11 statewide qualified, educated, professional scientists and everybody else involved. So, as far as the resolution, there's a miswording in it, then it has to be redone. But there's more to this process than what you're bringing up now. Is years of
You're
documented
refusing to even consider another opinion from another expert. The only expert you care about are the ones that you...
I will not subject the town to any more expenses than has already been put out to ultimately get to this point, to a project that was approved by New York State ultimately. We just submitted a second plan, intended use plan to them a few weeks ago, which reduced the initial cost of the project from $14 million down to $11 million.
Really?
Absolutely, and part of it, the change was because the people were so adamantly for Gooseneck and Lake George, that's why the intended use plan was modified. Number one, to bring down the cost, to upgrade Gooseneck, because the people wanted to keep it, and to do some modifications to Baldwin, because we know we don't want to get rid of that source at all, and to have a backup with the groundwater source. And the plan has been submitted to New York State. So that's where we are, that's where we're at today. And that is the path we have that we are on now, based on a number of public informational sessions. I don't know if you were at this, some of them you may have been, but these public information sessions have been going on, and it's based on what we've heard from all people not just your professional opinions.
If we heard from all the people, I believe this particular item could be put to a referendum, correct? Because it's such an expenditure. Why don't we do that?
We had, as a matter of fact, we just had
Is that
another
too big?
public meeting with the people from Street Road and Warner Hill Road, a public informational meeting the other night. The questions were answered, and ultimately, a number of them are now considering tying in to the groundwater source because they'll get a better quantity and pressure of water. So, but again, we're still at the test phases now. This is the direction the town is going, and that they have been working on for even a year or so before I came in office, since 2009, and so.
This is the direction the board is going. It's
Based
not the
on
direction
the people, the 6 or 7 informational meetings we've had, open to the public input, and scientific input in all of those that I had told you before. Now, this is not it's like Monday, what do I call it, Monday morning quarterbacking. Where were you and your sciences 5 years ago when this started into the process? So this is the direction we're going, and we will be having more informational meetings as we have all along. But now that people are paying even more close attention, I'm expecting that we'll get some good feedback and some good informational sessions. So. All right, is anybody else? Anybody else? Well, let the board, and anybody else like to respond?
If anyone cares to see a parallel situation, they can look to the village of Tupper Lake.
Excuse me.
It's Wayne's turn.
It's in the Adirondack Daily Enterprise in July 24th edition. As a matter of fact, the hydrogeologists we employ appeared with their board, and they're doing the exact same thing. Due to the exact same issues. They have tannins in the water, which are organics that come from leaves and stuff environmentally get in their water, and they are doing the exact same thing. Pretty identical. They've got 3 sites, and again, Paul Maroon is a Franklin County legislator. He's enrolled as a Republican, a Democrat, and a conservative, well-connected in Albany, and that's the path that they're choosing. Again, it's economics is driving it. It's not some wild ambition on the part of their board any more than it is ours.
Their surface water is not treated.
But they're using wells as an alternative.
They don't have no other alternative. The surface water cannot be used because it is chemically polluted from the tanning mills and the old wood factory that used to be there. It'd be like Ticonderoga going down in Wilson's Bay drinking water.
It's tannins, and tannins is a byproduct of wood, trees, leaves, and that's what their water is contaminated with. And they hit it with chlorine, and they have chlorination byproducts, and the situation for them is the same as it is for us. Chlorination byproducts are in excess of what's allowed by regulation. So anyway, it was this board's determination that this was the most affordable way that we continue to provide water to people of the town at a flat rate and still comply with the law and sell water that meets specification that people can have confidence in and not worry about drinking. You know, and that was, and I come in.
You will at least admit that there is no order from the Department of Health that it has to be this way.
What that resolution refers to is the comprehensive plan that addresses the whole situation. Okay? It isn't.
The comprehensive plan is right here. It does not mention wells, drilling of wells, or groundwater.
But to address the situation we're in, by virtue of planning and studies and science, it resulted in that resolution you got there.
That was a board decision, but not a Department of Health.
It was a board decision, right?
Thank you.
To comply with the law, to avoid potential fines and again, making people sick potentially. I mean, that's our ultimate concern is for our people and for the water we provide. that meet
You're
specifications.
suggesting that Lake George water and Gooseneck water don't make
I'm saying water needs to be treated adequately and be free of known contaminants that are regulated under the surface water treatment rule, type 2.
As mandated by the New York
Okay.
State Department of
I
Health.
agree with
That's the key.
I don't have an
This is
issue with that.
mandated by the New York State.
It's
I
nothing.
don't have an issue with it.
It's
Department of
nothing
Health.
we opted to do. It's something that we felt was prudent in looking 100 years down the road. We will have ample supply for any potential development or increases in demand. We're going to have it without worry, without fear, and again, at an affordable rate.
Do we live on a fault line?
I have no idea.
We do.
Okay.
Are groundwater sources particularly affected by earthquake and earth tremors?
I would presume I
I would think your experts probably should have told you that.
Yeah, well, it's the trend, Bill, and that's all our neighbors, Malone, Saranac
So
Lake,
who-
Tupper Lake, well, you know, there'll be some dragging for someone else to slay down the road, you know?
And we'll also be sharing any and all information, and it's always available anytime. Our books are open, it's public knowledge. We have an open door policy. Any information on the bonding and the grants, and as well as the projected water project spending, any information anybody wants, they're welcome to come in the door anytime. If it's not easily compilable, we will get to it. We had a public hearing for the 2.7 million, and very few people showed up. We had to, under the time constraints,
Good job.
we had to get, we had to go ahead with the public hearing and to get the funding forward, but we were not stormed with hundreds of people screaming no. Conversely, I'm hearing from people, they understand the difference between $32 million for rehabbing all of Gooseneck, $12 million for rehabbing Baldwin, as compared to the $14 million or less, which the project will be less, for groundwater, good, safe, adequate supply that is affordable for folks, so. Steve?
One thing I'd like to make clear right now, actually, there is no full outright decision that the wells are gonna be it yet. They gotta prove themselves. So they gotta prove safety, they gotta prove production. And we're not, you mentioned the $300,000 to $350,000. We had approved, I think it's pretty close, $288,000 to drill the test wells. We're within that right now. Okay, these are test wells. That resolution is another issue to this pre-drilling. I just want to say, there is nothing that has said yet, Ty will drill the wells. This is the way it's going. This is an investigative.
Could I ask a question about that 288,000? Where is the resolution stating that? I foiled for a copy of it, nobody can find it.
It was a resolution offering the development of the wells. It was estimated to be 280,000, 282.
An investigative procedure.
That was in the discussion at the time. I don't know if it's necessarily that number's in the resolution. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't have it in front of me.
But just want to know, when you mentioned 300, 350, I got concerned because I know when we passed that, it was in that $288,000 fee. And this is an investigative to make sure that we can find a water source. Is it good enough? And does it have the flow?
As of close of business the other night before our informational meeting, the clerk sent me an email and it was 245 because is what was that?
So we put the last two wells in for $3,000?
245,000 is what we'd spent to date.
We had 242,000 before you started to drill the last two wells in Spree Road. So for 245,
Well, I don't imagine we have to
that'd
vote
be
yet.
$3,000 for the last 2 wells.
No, but that was as of Monday, Bill. The wells aren't done. They haven't been invoiced yet. The work they're doing now hasn't been invoiced, you know?
Oh, okay.
You know,
Okay.
I mean, that's,
Dick, would you?
Yeah, this is totally different, but it's a couple of suggestions for the town board. I don't know if you realize it, but Tops Markets are looking to come back into the areas around here again. They've come into Screw Lake, and we used to have one here. So it might be prudent for the town board to have one of the committees look into getting a hold of whoever is in charge of Tops Markets and offer them a place to set up shop in here. Another thing that would be excellent for Ticonderoga, along with the paper mill, is a wood pellet company. Pellet stoves today are probably the #1 ranked source of heat in the backcountries, even surpassing wood stoves now. And it would be a no-brainer to have one right here in Ticonderoga, because they haul wood to the paper mill. They could haul the byproducts along with the wood that they're hauling to the mill. They could haul the byproducts to the pellet company, and it would probably put a lot of people to work. And then my good old one, recently, not long ago, in Putnam, a fellow accidentally shot himself, and waiting for the ambulance. They couldn't do it because a cop had to go there and secure the scene before the ambulance could arrive. And I guess it was a state police that finally came from someplace out in Washington County. By that time, the guy was long dead. It would be nice if we had a state police barracks right here in Ticonderoga as a hub. And this would be a perfect selling point for the government as to why one should be here. The staff was 7 or 8 people, just like you have right now. But there'd be state police instead of local Ticonderoga police. Whereas the state of New York is paying for their services, and not just 3,300 taxpayers. You could have the same quality of service and just as good. There would be no diminished service. And if you read the newspapers, you'll find that they're graduating a lot of classes of state troopers this year. Now's the time to strike. The iron is hot. You got this mammoth water project that's costing $20 million, and we're having a hell of a time funding it. This is the time to say to the governor, we can't do everything. We got 3,300 people that are paying taxes in this town right now, and it's probably going down because you see a lot of for sale signs on houses around here. So this would be the time to say we have to eliminate our police force because we just can't afford to keep them anymore. Everybody else is downsizing. A couple of weeks ago in the Post-Star, there was a terrific article about how Glens Falls and Queensbury downsized their police force and got rid of their local police force in favor of an alternative police force. They gave pros and cons as to why it happened and how it happened. And there was a lot of discussion about it, there was a lot of crying about it, but it happened. But now everybody is happy with what they got. So it's time that this discussion took place amongst the board members. It's time to start figuring this, because this is something that a way that you could use to reduce the tax base in Ticonderoga. And there's no reason why you can't put a barracks here in Ticonderoga and have 7 damn state troopers here. You've already got 4 that live in town. There's no reason why we can't have it.
Can I answer you on that?
No, this is addressing the board now.
So it's to me, it's a no-brainer. To me, it's a no-brainer. I just can't see paying $1 million plus the insurance. And look at what the insurance cost would come down if you didn't have your own local police force. Because the state police has carries their own insurance. So you have a lot of things going for you in this. Those guys are going to get a job. You don't have to worry about that. They're all well trained. They'll go out and get a job with the sheriff's department in any county that they want. Their name on the list within 6 months, they'll all be hired. So it's not like you're thrown to the wolves. You're not. And this is strictly a financial thing. Strictly financial. Has nothing to do with how good they are or how bad they are. I ain't saying they're good, I ain't saying they're bad. I'm just saying we can't afford them. And there's some things you can't afford.
Thank you, Dick. Those are good insights on the wood pellets and the potential pellet business. And
Now you have the park right there. You throw another business up there.
yeah, and it would fit right in with the biomass expansion and potential with the college.
With the tractor supply shop.
Yeah, perfect.
I got a question for Dick. Where's $1 million come from?
Where's the $1 million come from?
Yeah.
Taxpayers.
Where are the boys getting $1 million?
Where?
I know their budget. I know exactly right now. And you're about 300 and some thousand way out.
Okay.
Plus.
Okay.
And the night of that Putnam thing, Mark, would you please correct me? Were we directed not to respond? That they were waiting for a state police officer?
Oh, that was a very tragic incident, and the good thing that's come out of this is that we updated our emergency, our mutual aid responses in other counties and invite government emergencies. There was a communication failure in the Washington County Dispatch Center where we were never advised that this gentleman was wounded by a gunshot wound. Had we been notified, absolutely, we would have had myself and the patrolman who was on duty at the time would have been there much quicker than the state trooper who took about 20 to 30 minutes to arrive on the scene. And I feel horrible that we didn't receive that information because in a heartbeat we would have sent an officer down there.
Thank you.
Yeah, but he just answered my question for me. If we had the state police barracks in lieu of Lawrence Police Force, the state cop from here could have made it just as quick.
They may not even have a call either. And you could have 7 troopers right here in Ticonderoga situated in a barracks, and the state police could have those guys off on the Northway, out in Minerva, up in Newcomb, not even be in Ticonderoga, because even if they're barracked in a certain area, they are spread out over a very large circle radius.
Yeah, that's why they call it state troopers.
You would not get the same service.
That's why they're in school late.
Albert, you're the next on the list. Would you like to speak? Sure, yeah.
Wayne, you mentioned to me to make a list of things to do that I noticed in the park.
Yeah.
You got back of the Rite Aid, and I'd like this to get in the minutes. The highway superintendent, Mike Parent, is doing a superb job back there with his crew and with those shock troops that he has from Mariah. One fantastic job, and he's getting multi-loads of free fill to fill in them holes so we won't have that brush problem again. And all those down and out people living back there in cardboard boxes and so on and so forth will be eliminated because it'll be a law now once he gets that filled in and graded. And right back of the Rite Aid area and the chute, right back of the water department, that big steep bank is all eroding right into the river. It should be rip-wrapped up with probably those chain link boxes. And I think our highway crew could do that easily enough. All they need is probably a permit to get into that river. And it's in dire need of, that whole bank is going to give way there. That needs to be addressed very shortly. And that's about it.
Thank you for bringing that to the board. I know you're in and out of places that we may not be in today, so.
We'll bring it up at Highway, Albert. We'll get it up the Highway Committee and get it on the agenda.
Okay.
I'd say one more thing if I could.
Go ahead.
To Parks and Recs, Mr. Luliano. We had another tour this morning, and we had Ann McDonald and Joe Mahalik, Cheryl O'Connor, and Lieutenant Elthorpe, the DEC officer, was there. We went through the whole thing there again. And we'd like to sit down sometime with yourself, because you're head of the Parks and Recs, right?
No, I
You are. What are we a subcommittee of?
Parks and Rec.
Parks.
You or you?
Parks and Rec.
Okay,
We're
we'd
together.
like to-
They're together.
Both of you?
Yeah, Steve runs it, I'm second on that committee, so it's fine, whoever.
Okay, we'd like to sit down and have a discussion with you sometime. You know, I don't think we have to have the whole Parks and Recs board there. I think just the head and our committee sit down and maybe at your, I don't know, special meeting or whatever. I don't know how to do it or.
Just
Yeah, you
what
should
would be-
report during the.
come into the Parks and Rec committee and we'll set one up.
After the meeting, yeah, we'll have a meeting with you guys. We're all
Let us
there.
know and
It's coming up. It's coming up next
we'll
week.
sit down and get some plans situated.
Is your committee all ready? Everybody healed and?
Yeah, everybody's really
Cast
interested.
off.
A lot of outside people are interested, you know, that are not part of the committee.
Next Tuesday,
Getting a lot of interest in it, yeah.
next Tuesday at 11 o'clock is Parks and Rec, and after that, if we want to sit down with your group and visit, do you have time, Steve?
Should, for a little while anyway.
What
Next
time would that be?
Mine's at 10, his is 11.
Mine's at 11.
Yeah, so they don't run longer than an hour, our meetings.
About 11 o'clock, is that?
Yeah, as long as his don't run into mine.
11 a.m. on Tuesday?
Tuesday, 15th, Albert. Yep.
What?
The 15th, October
Yeah.
15th.
At 11 o'clock.
The 15th?
October 15th at 11,
I
yeah.
mean, if you want to come at 11:30, because we're going to do the Parks and Rec meeting first, if you guys want to come after, you know, that's fine.
Yeah, after would be.
Yeah, so if you come around 11:30, whenever the meeting's over, we can...
11:30.
Yeah. I'll try to keep Steve here.
Okay, doke.
It'll just depend on what's going on, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Albert. Moving to the motion to accept or correct the minutes.
Move it.
Was there anyone else who hasn't spoken? Victor?
I'd like to get back into that police issue that Dick Holroyd addressed. I think the goal is of the town of Ticonderoga, I'd like to see it addressed by, I'd like to see it pushed by supervisor of the town board, basically, to set a goal for a couple things. One would be to make the town of Ticonderoga the absolute safest town in the state of New York. I'd like to see the county of Essex be the safest county in the state of New York. I know that sounds like a big deal. I think we've got an opportunity. We've got a judge that, you know, that's president, he's in charge, he's got a great influence over the judges in Essex County. I think we could have Keith go to the judges in other towns and see if they had any interest in working toward that as a goal. I think we need the supervisor of the town of Ticonderoga to go to the county and discuss that with other supervisors, bring them on board, And I think between the judges, the supervisors, and possibly the Republican Party, if we needed them, we could convince the DA, no more plea bargains here. You're going to do drugs in Essex County, you're going to do drugs in Ticonderoga, you're going to go to jail. We'll need no plea bargains. And I think if we have that goal, you're going to see some changes in the town of Ticonderoga and the county of Essex. I think it's a very achievable goal. I think somebody needs to put the effort into getting that, looking into that, to get something like that started and accomplished. I think if we did that, we could call Fox News and give us some publicity if we needed any help along those lines. Then, at that point in time, I think if we got that established, we could take another look at where we stood, make some intelligent decisions as to what kind of police protection we needed at that point in time. I think that's a common sense approach to this thing.
Regarding the drug problem, you're aware that we did just start about 5 months ago the Thai Drug Awareness Coalition, and the membership has just grown and grown, and we have had county representatives coming from the DA's office, from all the different Essex County legal and sheriff's office, and to help with this drug problem, and that's rolling out shortly, actually. The effort's underway to address the drug problem, and we are going to go countywide. And as a matter of fact, we're going to have I'll report on that a little bit later, an opportunity for folks to bring their prescription drugs to the police.
You might suggest that as an overall solution to the drug problem in Ticonderoga and Essex County.
As a start.
I think one of the main problems we have here are the plea bargains that are offered by the district attorney. I think that's a major problem. I think that's where we end up with these people. When they get arrested, they don't go to jail, the plea bargains are there. And I think before you can resolve anything here, you've got to put an end to the plea bargains. But that's just a suggestion, it's the one way to do it. I think it'd be a tremendous goal for the town of Ticonderoga and Essex County. We could set a standard in the state of New York. I think that's a tremendous goal that we could achieve. It's workable, we've got the capability to do it, I think we ought to pursue it.
Good input.
Regarding the comments that Bill had to say on the water issue, I think these informational meetings that you've suggested and you're willing to work toward is a great idea. I know the one you had just a few days ago, that meeting was well attended. I think a lot of positive things came out of there. It's one of the first meetings that I've personally seen is an informational meeting that's been held by this administration that I thought, there was a lot of good things came out of there. The meeting was open, the people had a chance to speak, basically to their satisfaction, like you mentioned. And I think more informational meetings before the water issue gets cast in concrete. I think we need some more of those informational meetings, so we can have a proactive discussion between the people in this administration regarding this water issue. And I think we need more information. These people need to know what you're going to do about the bonding, where the grants are going to come from, what the eventual cost is going to be to the residents of the town. And I think they should have a choice in looking at these alternatives I think they ought to have a choice as to establishing the priorities that we want to set. Maybe is what we do first. Do we tackle Lake George? Do we go to Chilson? Look at how much money we've got and where we want to spend it. And I think you ought to get some public input there, whether you drew it with a straw. But I think you can accomplish a lot with good informational meetings to get to the point where the people are happy. Maybe at the end of that, we would need a straw poll, to satisfy the people. Maybe we need a referendum like Bill suggests. I think we need a little bit more work. We need to get downstream a little bit further before this program is cast in concrete. And I'd like to see that happen. I think your idea for the informational meetings is a very positive step forward. And I think your willingness to open your doors and open the books to the people, to any concerned citizen in the town of Ticonderoga, is a wonderful idea.
Well, they've always been open.
So,
we just want to reinforce that. There's
Victor,
information. It's public information.
But that was probably at least the fourth and possibly the fifth informational meeting we've had on that project. Over the course of this, we've had several up at the auditorium upstairs. I think 3 at least, where we've had.
they haven't been conducted. They haven't been conducted in the right way.
Okay. Well,
Need more opportunity for interaction for folks.
That's right.
There's a lot of scientific information out there that's hard to process.
That's right.
And it needs to.
And Victor,
The people have a question or two. These guys don't listen to what somebody else has to say. They listen to the engineer. The hearing is poor in that room. You can't hear what people say. You're there for to discuss maybe a situation in one part of town, not the overall picture of the town of Ticonderoga. I think we need more of an opportunity to come together on these issues.
The bad part about this, though, is the only time you're going to get anybody to come here is when it directly is biting them. Just like the people with the wells. That's why they were here. They didn't come to the Chilson meeting about the Chilson water supply. They had the opportunity. They didn't come to any of these sewer and water meetings. I didn't see any of those people that was here about wells come to, but maybe a couple of them came to 1 or 2 of the actual sewer and water meetings that are held. And that is where everything takes place. That's where you really find out. People are very apathetic in this town. The only time they want to come here and bitch is when it directly affects them. They don't come as a proactive thing and help this board. I get chided a lot for making derogatory remarks to the board. I don't think they're derogatory. That's just my opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinion. But I don't see anybody else in these seats giving an opinion because the seats are always empty. The seats are always empty. There's nothing stopping anybody from coming to these meetings. It's just the people in Ticonderoga are too lazy to get up their butts and come to the damn meetings. I mean, you've got a senior bus, hire the damn senior bus and then bring them over here. I mean, they can only do so much. And believe me, I'm not an advocate for the board. I'm an advocate for the taxpayers of Ticonderoga, and that's all I've been arguing. And they can verify that because even when they spend $100, I'm up there rear ends just as much as if they spend $100,000. If I think they're doing the wrong thing, I let them know. But nobody else does. Only after the fact. After the fact, when their taxes have gone up, they say, what the hell happened? How did that happen? Well, you was the bingo. That's how it happened.
Thing. Brad?
I hate to differ with you, Dick, but that community house was full up there when we had that water meeting up there.
I said the community house was full of the people on that water line and that had an interest in the water line. But you didn't see the well people that was there. Now, you didn't see any of the chosen people that was at that meeting on the chosen water line. They knew about this meeting that was going to take place about the well, but you didn't see any of them come down and listen in and offer either encouragement or discouragement, one way or the other. Nobody, even you didn't come down.
I had some personal business.
Beside that, but nobody else showed up either.
Well, I'm sorry on that.
Well,
I sent letters, excuse me. I
get out of the board
I
meeting?
sent letters out to most of the people that was on that line purposely so they would know what was going on to come to that meeting. And we held that meeting, and then a majority of them come down here that night and bitched about it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Fred, because you've got to move on to the meeting now. Okay, public portion is closed. Thank everybody for their comments. Do a motion to accept or correct minutes. I know there's a number of them.
You have the regular town board meeting on 9/12, the special info meeting regarding Fondre on 9/17, another special info meeting on 9/19 without Fondre via conference call, the finance meeting on 9/24, the public hearing on 9/30, the special town board meeting that followed on 9/30. Those meetings you all were in attendance for. If you want to do those first, and then you had your info meeting just this past Monday that Jeff was absent for. So you want to do those
Put them
first?
all together? Yeah.
Move we accept them as presented.
Councilman Taylor, is there a second?
Second.
Councilman Liliano, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So then you have the info meeting this past Monday regarding the well development.
I'll move that we accept it.
Councilman Taylor, second? Councilman Liliano?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Reported committees, Public Works? Chairman Taylor?
Thank you, Deb. We had our meeting on September 24th at 8:30 a.m. with myself, Jeff Cook, Tracy Smith, Derek Flurry, Todd Hodgson, Sue Eustace in attendance, others present, Deb Mulaney, Jody Alcott, Bill Grinnell, Dick Holroyd, and Matt Fuller. Under public participation, Bill Grinnell referenced a letter that was sent to several Street Road residents who have concerns that a town well will dry up their residential wells. He had several questions related to this letter, specifically a specific circumference of 1,200 feet area is mentioned in the letter. Where did this letter number come from? And the answer was the town engineers. There are specific town laws in place that require the town to do due diligence to not harm the people who have residential wells. The Department of Health does require local wells to be monitored during the testing phase of a production well, of the development of a production well. The letter mentions forgiving several charges that anyone joining a water district would face. Who pays for that? And the answer was, if these residents are connected to municipal water in the future, they will be charged for water use and operation and maintenance charges, but not the debt that is specific to the water supply project. A new district is not responsible for the debt of another district. This is a supply and district issue. Everyone who currently receives town water will be responsible for the town water supply debt. Internally, within a district, you have distribution. One district may have a 10-year-old infrastructure and one with 50-year-old infrastructure. The district with the 10-year-old infrastructure does not want to pay for the other district's 50-year-old equipment. Who would pay to connect these residents? The answer was it would be shared by all water users who are part of the project. Jumping down to subsection 4, the town can take a stance that they do not want to do anything, as by law they are entitled to the water as anyone, but this town board does not feel this way, neither legally or morally, and we want to give assurance to those with a private well that they will have water, whether it be private or municipal. Dick had wanted it verified that the town currently plans to use gooseneck as one of the 2 sources of water that will supply the town. It was stated by Wayne that yes, that is currently the town's plan. The newly submitted IUP project scope includes repairs to be completed at the divide on Chilson, what will the well water be tested for? And this is prescribed by the Department of Health and has large parameters. Preliminary test results completed on the Rafferty well indicate no contaminants. Underwater wastewater supervisor's report, we're jumping down to section 5. John Street Sewer Stormwater Separation Project. The sewer main is installed but not connected. The water main is installed and is connected. Installation of the storm main is under construction but has been held up due to the need to remove rock. That rock will be drilled, not blasted. It is a priority to have the road restoration fully completed this year. Jumping over to item 10, under vac truck, the new truck is scheduled for delivery on October 17th. The hydraulic issues with our current vac truck are repaired and delivery is expected soon. Lake George would like to purchase the old vac truck, and though not finalized, the sale seems promising, and the Water Sewer Committee recommends that the town board declare the 2005 Sterling LT 500 vac truck as surplus and offer it to the Village of Lake George. And I would move that as a resolution. Second.
Second by Councilman Giuliano. Discussion?
My only comment at the time was that I feel that it would behoove us to wait till after we receive the new truck to declare it surplus. That's the only thing.
Okay. Makes sense. I would offer the resolution with that precondition that it not be released until our new truck is in service. It would amend the resolution to include that.
All in favor?
Aye.
That carries.
Okay, thank you. Over to item 13, under Maple Fields. Maple Fields plans to install a car wash and have requested a sewer service connection. There is capacity for this connection, though it is highly recommended that it be done by gravity due to the high likelihood that grip from the vehicles will cause pump failures if we use a force main pump. There's two options there. It can go either force main or it can go gravity, but gravity would require it to go across the road in front of, over in front of Rite Aid. That's where it would tie in there. So, or one or the other, either 74, one side's got a gravity and the other's a force main. But anyway, they would recommend that we use the gravity situation. Maple Fields will be completing all construction associated with this connection and will be responsible for the New York State Highway permit. Under Deputy Water Wastewater Supervisor's report, under water districts, under the FEMA Chilson transmission main, FEMA needs verification that the Department of Transportation will allow the installation of the new transmission main on Route 74. And our engineers, AES, has been corresponding with the DOT on obtaining this permit. Jumping over to item 4, New York State Route 74. Due to the installation of a new water main on Route 74 last year, there is a large hump in the roadway, and the New York State Department of Transportation has requested the town repair this section. The DOT will assist the town with traffic control during the repair of the road. The town will provide labor forces and Peckham will complete the paving. Costs incurred by this will be paid by the town water districts. Under the engineer's report, AES, under well developments, the drillers will begin test wells on Wednesday. That's on the Sawyer property. Under the tribunal deadline, the Department of Health recently contacted the town with a reminder of the approaching deadlines for the tribunal order compliance. The project deadlines are as follows. October 1st, 2013, the deadline for the project reporting, though it will be requested that it be moved to December 31st, 2013. September 30th, 2014 is a final date to submit the project plans and specs to New York State, though it will be requested that it be moved to December 30th, 2014. June 1st, 2016 is the final end date for the project. The Department of Health has not been willing to move this date as they have others, though a request will be made to extend it further. Under EFC financing, February 1st, 2014 is the final date to have most of the reporting to EFC in order to secure short-term financing at zero interest. So that is a huge item. Under FEMA Chilson Transmission Main, AES is completing some of the environmental for this project. Under the FEMA PRV Racetrack Road, some of the construction will be done this winter. This project cannot be fully completed this year due to the time frame required for Ross Valve to build the PRV. Under the Secretary's report, Hincamp rate reduction request. John Hincamp owns a two-apartment building at 1512 New York State Route 9N. One of the apartments was under renovations, but they were never completed. He has no plans to finish the work, and it is inhabitable. He is requesting a rate reduction. The Water Sewer Committee recommends that the town board reduce account number 54001039900 from 2 units to 1 1/4 units upon verification that the apartment is not habitable. And I would offer that as a resolution.
I'll second it.
Second, Councilman Cook. Discussion on it?
I think these reductions are not good. I don't know. We got a lot going on, and we just keep reducing all these water units. The cost of all this is going to fall over everybody else. I don't know, if somewhere along the line, we take a moratorium on this until this project is done, but, you know, you take all these units off the market, then everybody else got to pick up the cost that's paying for this project. Just something to think about. We could have a slew of these things hit this place pretty soon because with these rate increases, and that means the other users are going to have to pick up the difference. I mean, until we figure this out, I've talked about it before, but just something to think about.
You want to bring that to the committee, to the next committee meeting, and determination on it, or do you have an answer?
Yeah.
But this is just the way, this is the way that it's always been done. You know, I mean, not to say that's right or wrong, but that's the way they've always done it. They make temporary adjustments up and down depending on particular situations, and then the water department does monitor the status of the places. And then once their status changes, then they increase the rates back up or, bring it to the board to reduce them.
The actual hospital have just increased.
I'm going on almost 2 years, I've never seen an increase.
They do it internally, they do it upstairs.
So you bring it here to have it reduced, but you can increase it without bringing it back to the board?
They can change.
That's why then.
Once the status changed, they add the units back in.
Okay, just
Yeah,
a
they do
thought.
come back. They do come back on board.
It's a good point.
Until this is done, maybe we just need to just take a breath here and get through this project and get everything handled.
Yeah.
But this is on the board.
Yeah, that's good input, thanks. Anything else?
Oh, that's all. No, but you didn't pass it.
No, we didn't vote on it yet.
You gotta vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
I am. I'm
Councilman
opposed to
Leon,
any rate
opposed?
reduction.
All right, water department furnace. The water department needs the furnace replaced before winter. Discussion on whether to put in a larger system, convert to propane, etc. The committee decided that the furnace will be replaced as is with no upgrades. There is $5,000 in the building budget to cover this expense. And that furnace is over 30 years old. It's over there. It's a hot air furnace. Other items, the Baldwin Road Water District Extension properties will be included in this district, need to be updated before the map plan and report can be finalized. Next scheduled meeting, the Water Sewer Committee meeting will be October 29 at 8:30 a.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Buildings and grounds. Councilman Leon.
We met September 17th. In attendance were myself, Steve Whitford, Sharon Reynolds, Bill Dolbeck, Jeff was there, and Tanya. We talked about our fundraise plans. They were sent out. We were close to getting an RFP to look at grant availability. This will help us decide which location and how to proceed for the best long-term scenario of the structure. Long talk on indebtedness, Ticonderoga, water, sewer, all that kind of stuff, how to do this, how this would work with the different entities in this building. That took up most of our meeting. There's a lot of things going on, and anybody that wants to attend the meetings, we're looking at the west cupola, getting a spec on it. The retaining wall on the west side of the building, we're looking at changing that up so we don't have further damage over the winter on that. We're looking at a way to get engineering studies done more efficiently to proceed with the jobs that require them by law, like the heating system in here. We needed that, and we're looking at that, fuel tank at the Armory, and so on. We've had a lot of talks about the sign in front of the community building. It needs to be more visible. There's a lot of different thoughts on that, and we're definitely looking for ideas of what to do with that, because we're looking at doing something with that next year. Our next meeting will be October 15th at 10 a.m. right here in the community building. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Parks and Recreation, Councilman Whitford.
Well, we met on September 10th at 11 a.m. Committee members, myself, David Liano, William Dolbeck, Sharon Reynolds, and Joyce Cooper were present. Others present were Jeff Cook, Tanya Thompson, Claire LaFountain, Michael LaFountain, and Tom Bissell. Michael LaFountain is a Boy Scout advancing to the Eagle Scout level with his project. He explained that he would be doing it at the Lord Howe Dog Park as part of his project. He is going to improve the fountain area by digging it out, reinstalling it, so as it will not be creating a large wet, muddy area, relaying the stone, making it leachable. He will also be repainting the picnic table and leveling the stone walkways. He also mentioned several other small things in the park. We made a motion to accept the project as moved. Jeff was also at the meeting to speak for Matt's project. He was looking to see if the town could help in some way. Matt has worked hard raising over $4,000 toward the project. There was substantial discussion in regards to this assistance. There was also some discussion at the location of the pavilion. At this time, it looks like the pavilion will be placed at the rear of the beach near the road. Tom Bissell was down from Essex County Youth Advocate Programs projects to discuss the skateboard equipment we have. After some discussion, we agreed to work out some possible area for the skate park next spring. So it means this winter what we're going to do is hold some discussions. We have already addressed a possible area which would be on the south side toward the village. After you just walk in right in that area, there's a big area between the parking lot and the river that they possibly could develop into a good little area. But we also explained to him that the equipment has to be anchored into the ground. So it means footings need to be put in, the bolts need to be set in place so that these things can be put down, MIG welded or something right in place so that they can't. We put them together on that skating rink, and I'll be dang by nighttime they'd have it apart. So we removed it for this year, and we're going to talk. He said that they have money to possibly either pave or put a concrete pad up, something that they could expand upon over future time. So that's where we are with that. And I told him we'd be willing to talk about it. The meeting was closed at 12:10 p.m. We meet again Tuesday, October 15th at 11 a.m.
No, we keep trying to provide skateboard opportunities for the kids, but well, that's a good compromise. Economic development. There's joint meeting minutes from September 4th here at the community building. It was the Focus Task Group and Economic Development Committee. Sharon at Pride gave us a good update on the food co-op program. The plans are moving along well, and their organizational meetings are going well. There are over 20 to 25 people from around the region who are coming to help support the food co-op effort and get that up and running. At this time, the goal is to hold a membership drive by 2014. Sharon also submitted a grant application through Essex County for an extension to the Lachute Trail for the upper end of Lake George Avenue, where it's not connected to the Trestle Bridge as the remaining connection portion of the Lachute Trail that has yet to be fixed. And she's been working on this for probably over 8 years and has finally connected the entire Lachute Trail, so hopefully we'll get that last piece done. I gave an update on the board passing a resolution to move ahead with Hamlet expansion and how it's anticipated to create business opportunities and housing development and expansion. Parks and Rec Committee was also working on lighting the lower falls, and that effort spearheaded by the Thai Main Street Partnership. Also researching the potential upgrade at the Lachute Boat Launch near the Kissing Bridge to create an open water channel from Lake Champlain to downtown. Albert Borsnick has been diligent in getting some quotes for us, so we can meet the procurement requirements, just to find out what those costs would be. And Sharon's also looking into potential grants for repairs for boat launch area down there. Carol Calabrese from the county IDA was there as well, and she had a variety of updates to give on efforts that the County Industrial Development Agency is up to on behalf of all towns in the county. And some of the Thai Alliance is working on the workforce development. So far, 9 individuals have earned their work readiness credentials out of 11 total and are now employed. And Carol updated that the new executive director for the regional council. Another mural is planned for Wicker Street. We've had a great response to the mural that was done on the barbershop building next to Jay's. Well, they've gotten permission from the state DOT to do a mural on the large concrete wall on Wicker Street in front of the hospital. That large expanse there. And that will be a high school project. It will be a high school senior project. I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. And so another mural planned for Wicker Street before year end. The Acoustic Cafe was organized by Roberta Whiteley. The cafe brings musicians and their audience together on Wednesday evenings at the Burley House for an evening of music. And let's see, first and third Wednesdays of the month for those who are musically inclined, from 7 to 9 p.m. The Cultural Arts Initiative reported in, Vincent Smith, that the initiative is working on the feasibility of a 2-week fall celebration. They also discussed the cultural arts concept called The Hub. It's being developed and with input from the Hyde Museum in Glens Falls. So our local cultural arts initiative is getting some regional interest. It's all privately funded at this point. Let's see. Matt at the Chamber is discussing the joint marketing efforts between Fort Ticonderoga and the Chamber. It also reports Maple Fields should be open in 4 to 6 weeks. Those are just some of the highlights. Chamber Volunteer Appreciation Award Dinner, that's coming up on the 16th. And the Economic Development Committee will continue to meet quarterly. The next full meeting will be in January. However, we still meet monthly with these focus groups. So there's a lot going on in the community and a lot of different organizations helping to move the town forward. So that's my economic development report. Airport, Councilman Whitford.
We don't have anything on the airport at this time. Hold on here. We have one small item, excuse me. Need to put a motion on paragraph 8. Line about hull insurance has to be deleted. So I'd make the motion that that particular line be deleted from the contract. There is no legal requirement for hull insurance, so the town has no authority to require it.
We've already done that one.
But we didn't make a motion on it.
Okay.
We had to make a motion.
We did a different insurance.
Yes, but we didn't change the specific.
We've already made the change, but we pulled it.
Okay, but
But we just didn't, we need to.
Okay, so
you
you've
did
got
the
the motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Yes, second, no.
Councilman Cook, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved.
that's it. Would like to say it's not a lot, but we generated about $2,600 this year in lease and tie-down fees, so, and I mean, we still could take in a little bit more, but I think in the coming years, it's gonna get better.
When do you figure the fuel system will run?
We will not, probably will not be going in this winter. We'll be holding until spring because the state, almost like everything else, money's on hold. They've got the money, we got the approval, but they're just waiting to release it.
I see.
And now it's so late that we won't be able to get the bids out in time to get it in place. And it's no sense having it sitting there empty,
Right.
condensating, so they said we'll wait till spring.
Human Services, Councilman Liliano.
Yeah. We don't skip Jeff.
I checked it off.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Highway, Councilman Cook.
Just one thing, I'm glad that in your report, Deb, that the state gave permission for the mural on the cement wall, whatever.
Yes.
Hopefully they'll consider the cement wall that the town highway has been talking to them about repairing right across the road pretty much, and where the state basically said they don't repair the walls. So if they're taking ownership of the wall, that they can get permission to have a mural on it, maybe they can do something with the other wall.
Oh, good point.
So,
That's
Take the
good.
dirt coming through and put a tree on top of it.
hey,
Can't
whatever.
fix it, feature it.
Yeah. Anyways, I had to throw that out there. Highway Committee meeting was held September 24th. Present were John Deming, Mike Parent, Wayne Taylor, myself. Guests were Dave Giuliano, Steve Whitford, Carlo Bigliotti, Amy Kuznell, and Matt Fuller. There were no guests wishing to speak specifically. Under Highway Superintendent, discussion was had regarding the removal of the tank from the Highway Department. It was stated the Highway Superintendent coordinate this removal. He was requested to do this today and have this accomplished as soon as possible. Mike stated that he would be on the phone tomorrow to coordinate the removal of the tank at the garage. He will contact all the entities involved and report back to us as to when the tank would be removed. It has since been removed. Wayne asked regarding the fine pending regarding this tank. It was noted that the fines would not be finalized until the tank is pulled and any further contamination were confirmed or not. A lengthy discussion was had regarding the possible placement of a proper oil-water separator if one is to be installed. It needs to be sized to correspond to what the future needs of the department will be. Also discussed was the point of locating it where it will not need to be disturbed when and if a new highway garage is constructed. Mike stated he had the specs for the Bombardier-style sidewalk plow. He stated that he would provide them to the clerk. Did he ever do that?
No, but I think there's something in this packet about that.
He stated he'd like to purchase another heavy-duty plow truck from the same contract as previously used, and has that been given?
Yes, we received
Information.
estimates today from 2 different companies, and I have forwarded down to Kara to produce the resolutions needed, and she will have them ready for next Friday's budget workshop, so we can pass the resolutions at that time.
Okay, thank you. Wayne asked about the Birnbaum Road qualified abandonment. Mike stated they will attempt to save monies by utilizing the current police department radios, as theirs will be replaced with updated versions. It was suggested to Mike to discuss this with Deputy Water and Sewer Superintendent as he is going through licensure for the radios and stuff. Mike brought up the disposal of the chemicals still at the highway department. That needs to be put back on the burner to be dealt with. Mike stated the black topping is tentatively scheduled to start September 27th, which it hasn't. It's been postponed again. John Street will have to wait until the end of October due to the continuing construction project timeline. Mike stated that he'd come in under the tax cap for his 2014 budget. Under miscellaneous, Wayne again asked about the culvert at the intersection of St. Clair and Hines Street. Mike stated this is planned to be remedied soon. Wayne noted that the placement of a drainage catch basin at the bottom of 3rd Avenue resulted in approximately 2,000 gallons a minute of flow from the sewer system. This was a significant benefit by reducing the amount of water needing treatment, as well as an asset to help relieve overflow at St. Clair and Hines intersection. John discussed the Canfield turnaround. He also commented on the proposed easement on Colonial Street that had been previously discussed. John stated that he had talked to the landowner at the end of Sagamore Road, and she seems receptive to provide an easement for turnaround there. He will continue discussion with her and report back to finalize it. John commented about the college property to be utilized for parking area. Matt Fuller stated he received a deed for it yesterday. Matt was asked to assist in preparing the paperwork for the potential purchase of a sidewalk plow. And Wayne asked about funding of the 2014 budget for paving. Mike stated the budget is the same as this year, $350,000 that he put in. Next meeting will be October 29th, 2013 at noon.
Do we want to talk about that bid at all, Carla, any more about it?
Yeah, in your package from Fitzgerald Morris Baker and Firth, there is a resolution allowing us to give out to bid for that track mounted sidewalk.
I don't have my package. It's in this.
So basically it gives the specifications as per what we've discussed, using the information Mike had given us. And I would suggest that we want to receive the proposals on or before the first day of November, because it won't go into the paper till the 19th of October. That will give them 3 weeks, and that way we can act on it at the next town board meeting.
That would have to be in newspaper tomorrow.
No, it won't go till-
Monday's a holiday, in order to get it to the 19th.
Yeah, but I have all the
Yes,
information.
Okay.
yeah, it's ready to
As long
go.
as our meeting is the last one. I'll get it in for tomorrow to be published for next Saturday.
Okay.
But yeah, the cutoff is tomorrow for the holiday.
But, I mean, it's ready. It just needs to be sent.
So we need to make a motion to do that then? Then I'll make
Offer
that
that,
motion.
I'll second it.
Councilman Taylor. Discussion?
Now, is this surplusing the other one and trading it in?
Yes.
Yeah, it has, right in the resolution,
Okay.
the equipment requested and then equipment to be traded.
Carla, is this paid for though? Is the bellows off or is it still?
Yes.
It is off, okay.
Are we going to see all this, see the numbers, see what you're talking about here, or are we just going to?
Once we get the proposals back, it'll tell us how much the cost is going to be and what they're going to give us for trade-in. So then we'll have an exact amount.
So we're just,
This is the bid form.
thank you.
Surplus it pending.
Did you see the Bombardier you were looking at?
Well, no, you
It's
still
like
have
a
surplus.
slightly used unit that came from somewhere down Long Island. It's had very minimal usage.
We do that.
We think it could trade, Mike thinks that it can trade for around 10,000. And get something on tracks, to plow a 4-foot swath, you know.
Yeah, not as wide as
Not as
that.
big. That's 54 inches, that snowboard. It does an awful job on the sod and everything.
Get stuck.
Yeah.
Wider than sidewalks?
Yeah. That much
Yeah,
wider.
And it's unsafe there because it articulates in the center. So, I mean, if you start sliding and you crowd one way, you're gonna go right over with it, you know? So it's been tipped over at least once.
Several times.
Several times, so, I mean, it's a safety issue as well, so.
All in favor? We do.
I seconded it.
So that's to put in the advertisement, but we do have to declare the other sidewalk file surplus, so we can trade it in.
Once we get all the numbers, we'll do this, right? We're not just doing this.
No, we're not doing it.
Not doing one.
We're not just trading this thing in yet, right? We're finding out what we're doing here.
Right.
Yeah, but you still have to declare the other one surplus, just like you have to declare the back truck surplus. Doesn't mean you're going to sell it right off.
So it's pending the new unit then, is what you're saying.
Can we declare it surplus pending what, I mean, if we find out, for instance, they don't want to give us anything for it. I mean, I don't want to get rid of it for nothing.
Yeah.
That's what my point is. How do I go about wording it that way?
Subject to the approval of the bids.
You can accept
Yes.
or reject any of
Good.
it, right?
Well, there also could be an addendum added to that bid to give us a price with trade-in and to give us a price without trade-in. Or the bid can be changed. I I don't know, the bid is made out for the trade-in, right?
Yes.
And yes, you can reject it altogether, but to save that and having to go back out to bid.
But it's not your intent to buy one without trading, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, we don't have the money.
Okay.
We don't have the money to buy one
Yeah.
without trading this unit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
So,
saying.
yes, we just reject the bids.
They're not just gonna
Yeah.
throw money, yeah, good, good. Thank you.
But we still
So
have
you still
to,
have to,
so I'll move that we put the bellows out to
clear surplus.
clear the surplus.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carries.
Excuse me.
Anything else? That's human services then. Councilman Levin.
Which one we on, Maria?
Youth or seniors?
Okay. Start with youth, which met on September 16th. In attendance were myself, Carla Bigel, Carla, Dan Cross, Lynn Sawyer, Trish Stonish, Tanya Thompson, and John Bartlett. We spent some time working a little bit on the budget and just looking at some of the numbers, just so we all know here, there's going to be a slight increase in my budget to make the beach open a few more weeks, kind of accommodate the summer program and the folks. And we're also trying to figure out a way to have at least the bathrooms open in the morning and locked up in the evening for use, for folks to go up and use that, especially when the school wants to go up there at the end of the year. They bring their own lifeguards, so that will be available. We're working on that still to see how we can do that. The summer program, $450 is still owed, but right now the program has a $215 balance, so we actually made a little money on it right now. That could change, but we won't go 60,000 in the hole like we were. They did a great job. Everybody who worked on this did a great job. I just want to say that again. And we'll be able to run that program longer next year and keep it where it's not costing the town a lot of money, so, or any money in this case. So hopefully it will keep up. We do need to advertise. I'd like to advertise for a recreational specialist and a skating rink attendant. I'd like to move that.
The recreational specialist is for the 2014 skiing.
Skiing season, yes.
Season.
Your second?
I'll second.
Councilman Cook? Discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
That carries.
Okay, keeping them short. The next meeting is October 21st. We went a week past because it normally would be fall on Columbus Day, so we made it the next Monday, the following Monday, October 21st at the Armory at 5 o'clock. Seniors, you don't see anything in your booklet. I apologize about that because I'm just going to wing it. Those ladies do such a good job. You do see what's going on with the seniors in your packet. You can find that on the internet. We had a couple of folks there running for town board, so it's fun to watch the seniors work with these guys, Steve and Jim Callisto. And Steve will tell you they're very good with the questions. They're a lot of fun. I enjoy doing that. For myself, we went over several topics. The one I found the most interesting, that was the most problem for them, was the ability to vote. They thought the town board was the one that moved the voting to the school, and they find it very difficult to get in and very difficult to find their way around. They're just not used to it. It's very hard for them. So we explained that the fire is just a different district. We don't have anything to do with that, but we are going to try to get one of the fire people there to visit with them at their next meeting, because that was a real concern for them. It was a real tough thing moving to the middle school, so hopefully we can at least talk about it a little bit. I don't know where all that is, but it would be nice to try to help the folks out. But that was the big thing, and our next meeting is, I got it wrote down here somewhere. When's our next meeting, Ann? The 16th? I'm sorry?
It was the 16th.
16th at 1 o'clock at the Armory. Thought it was. Thank you. That always helps me.
Public safety. Steve? So So the seniors thought that the town board moved the voting site?
They assumed the board had done that, and I think a lot of times folks think that the boards control things, from assessment to some of these things we really don't, and they did understand when we were done, but it'd still be nice to get a representative down there just to visit them, bring it back to their board and explain what's going on, so we're going to try to do that, Ann.
Okay, we met on 9:30 at 5 p.m. We opened the meeting with a pledge of allegiance. The following members were present: myself, Calvin Cross, Dave Uliani, Mark Johns, Dave Woods, Bill Ball, and Ross Kelly. Guests with John Bartlett, Marianne Wallace, Dan LaFrance, and Jeff Cook. John Bartlett requests a road closure on Macomb Street from Lake George Avenue to Champlain Avenue on October 31st from 2:45 p.m. to 5 p.m. This closure is for the annual trick-or-treat program, and Mark is handling that.
I need to pass a resolution for that.
Okay, put a resolution on the floor for the closure of Macomb Street from Lake George Avenue to Champlain Avenue on October 31st from 2:45 to 5 p.m.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Discussion, go into discussion?
Discussion?
Yes, I would like to have a discussion. At 3 o'clock, I was promised an officer so my school bus could get through to let 5 kids off that are UPK in the middle of town last year. I couldn't get through, had a real problem. So at 3 o'clock, can somebody be on the Lake George Avenue side of that barricade and let that school bus through? Because I can't let those kids off. I couldn't get them off. We had a real issue with that. Just wanted to bring that up in front of the camera.
Forgive me, I don't remember the request personally. Was it me you spoke to?
Yeah, I eventually called you, but I couldn't get in. So
I'll put up my calendar right now.
3 o'clock, I'll be a big yellow bus. Can't miss it. Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to get that, Steve. I had to get that on record. Because I'm going to just sit there and blow the horn next time.
Bill Ball.
We got to vote on it.
That's right.
I apologize.
Who moved it? Steve moved it, who seconded it?
Jeff seconded.
Jeff seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks,
So
Steve.
moved.
Bill Ball brought up a possibility of drafting local law requiring a certificate of occupancy to be issued every time a residential property changes hands. Whenever individuals renting a personal property move out, there are other situations in which this would be used. But reports of law exist in many municipalities. It is for the protection of both landlords and the tenants. Having this law was debated by the committee, but no action was taken. I recommended it to the town board at this time. The committee felt the staffing level of the code enforcement office needed to be addressed before assigning a larger workload.
Can I make a comment on that? This is, well, we can go back to it, but this is a critical need.
Well, we know that, but what's happening is we're going to be taking care of the issues tonight. We made arrangement for interviews with 4 individuals for part-time building inspector applicants within the next week, which we did. I have spoken with Bill, and we do have an applicant that we would like to put a motion on the floor to hire tonight. And make sure I get the whole names. It's William.
Bruce.
Does he have his middle initial?
I cannot read that middle initial.
Okay. William Bruce, very nice gentleman, very knowledgeable about the work. In fact, he's worked with some of our construction crews down here with Chazen and Riznick on sewer system down here, the water system on the Kelsey Street area. So I would like to move that we hire.
Offer employment to William Bruce.
Yep.
Part-time.
I'll second it.
Pay rate.
$12 to start. Possibly to commensurate to increase upon receiving training.
So you're seconded for discussion. I didn't sit in on the interviews. We had two local people apply. And this fellow, is this fellow local?
He's from Brant Lake.
Okay.
Dave Woods was there, myself, Bill Ball. We interviewed all four. In the meantime, we had one of the locals come back, not qualified. They all interviewed well, but the gentleman from Brant Lake by far exceeded knowledge and expertise in the field of the other individuals. The second individual in line was from Monroe County. He actually flies up here and lives in Putnam 3 to 4 days a week. Mr. Lovell. He also does a plane down at Ticonderoga. And he has a vast knowledge of buildings and codes. And then we had the third applicant. And we sat down after it was over, and we discussed for a few minutes, the three of us, and then we gave Bill the ball. He's the man that's got to work with the individual. He's the man that's going to have to instruct him and work with him. And we want a person who's going to work with the general public in an easy manner, easy to talk to people, not be, how do I want to say, coercive in a manner. This fella doesn't come off as that way at all. So this is why we have chosen to go with.
And just a certain amount of hours a week you want on this?
We say 25? Yes.
And you're sure Bill is agreeable to this?
Bill is the one that made this decision.
Does this fall under the civil service?
Yes.
Yes, they all do.
They've all been checked. Carla had them checked out and made sure that the qualifications were there.
So they fall under the protection of civil service?
Yes.
Anybody that's employed by the town falls under the protection of civil service.
So can these people be hired, and this is a question, this hasn't been done, contingent to whether it be passing tests, or is there evaluation in 6 months or a year, or
No, we can set that.
or do we
We
just
can
hire
set-
them and have no choice what goes on the rest of our natural lives?
No, we can set, actually in personnel policy, do we not have a probationary period? I believe we do.
You do want to make sure, excuse me, whatever the titles are, that those licensing requirements apply. So whatever
And we have,
in that third or fourth paragraph of the job description.
I don't have the title.
Right here, it's a part-time building inspector 3.
Okay.
And this is the civil service description.
Yep.
And
Pass that out.
we forwarded all of the applicants, the applicants, their application for employment to the county. And the county tells us whether they qualify or not. And this man is qualified.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to Dave's question, qualifying and the additional stuff are two different things.
Yeah.
So you can't necessarily just put those conditions on there. It would go with whatever that is, unless you've got the employment policy that has a...
I could be wrong, but I was certain in that personnel policy we had individuals were hired at or at 6 months probation, but it's been a long time since I've been through it.
I would imagine the hiring process is time to make sure this stuff is in place, especially with civil service. You know, if we need it out, you know, hopefully we don't, but, you know. If everybody's okay with the way it's always been, that's fine, I'm just asking a question. Steve, you would know better than me.
Well, I'm sorry, Dave, what was your question?
My question is if in 8 months this is not working, you know, it's very hard to remove anybody from this town, you know?
Well, you have to have a time period.
Yeah.
So let's say if it's 6 months, then I don't believe it's a year. I don't think I've seen it.
It's not less than 8, not more than 26 weeks.
Will he have his license by then that he needs to get through this process?
What license?
There's no license required by this job title.
Is he going to school?
Yes, he will be going to school. He will have to complete 2 full classes to effectively do what we're basically moving him toward is fire safety inspections.
So what if he doesn't pass the classes?
This gentleman has worked with these particular type
Then he's
jobs, and
building inspector.
we asked him that, and he has
He's a
done.
part-time building inspector 3.
Yeah.
There are no requirements for him to attend any kind of schooling.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
There are
You know,
none.
But we are, in order to do the job, he's gonna have to take the classes to do the New York State fire safety inspections and the certificate of
The
occupancy.
town is requesting him to do that. It's not part of the civil
Yeah,
service
it's not part of
job.
civil
If he
service.
doesn't do it,
But that's on top of that.
you know, we need a Class 2 and Class 3 operator at the sewer treatment plant. Nobody wants to take Class 2. Derek finally came over and took it. So I got 5 guys that just say, I'm not going to take it. And we have to have that to run that plant. We do not have provisions for people doing what we need to do, so we would eventually have to hire that out, okay? And the town would have to pay for that. So if these people are going to take these jobs, we need to have provisions that they do what's required by the town, or we're just giving them a job with no way of exiting this.
The answer to that, David, is to amend those job descriptions. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, she
You
just,
see what I'm saying?
You're talking
26
union
weeks,
jobs,
6 months.
So you have to
That's
have
right.
that
That's a
approved by the
bargain.
union.
Yes.
Yours is a lot more complicated than this. This is a non-union job.
yes.
Whatever it is,
But
we need
has
to
to be
start
covered.
addressing it because it's going to cost the town a lot of money.
It has to be covered in that particular
Yeah,
policy
okay.
procedure right there.
Okay, and that's where we are, I just,
And you can certainly have him sign a document that states he will complete and pass the required classes by a
That's
certain
fine.
date.
Well,
We can draw that
he
up.
would have to meet, yeah, I would say within the 6 months. But Bill said that
I don't
most of
know
those
what
classes
right.
don't start until the beginning of the year.
that's what I'm
So
saying, yeah.
you have to make it contingent upon when the classes are available.
yes, I agree.
Bill said what he's going to do, he won't be bringing them in anyway for probably 3 to 4 weeks or more, because he's going to be going to classes and things, and he won't have the ability to do a lot of the things that Bill's going to need to do. What he will do is bring him in once he gets to working, bring him in to sit there and show him working with paperwork, get him used to the office, and then when the schools come available, he'll be going to school. Well, when you're looking at these things, you look at these applicants, you want to try to get the best applicant with the best credentials, the best attitudes. This gentleman is, meets all those.
So I'm not disagreeing with your person, Steve. I'm
This
just
is
saying.
just his resume and certificates for things he's done.
So he's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And none of them
So we need to add the stipulation that he pass the requisite classes.
Maybe it's something we think about in the future. Maybe we get the guy in.
But you hired
but-
him as a building inspector 3, and he
Yes.
has all those
He
requirements.
does.
He doesn't,
Anything.
Yeah.
he doesn't have to pass that.
You can't make.
I know.
No.
I know that. That's what I'm saying.
Well, then it gets to the question of what is the position you're trying to fill? Is it
Yeah.
building inspector
So if
three or not?
if you need him as a fire inspector and it's not in there and he doesn't have to
These-
do it, then you really have.
This is what I said. He knows he's going to have to pass these classes. He was told in the meetings that. Now, if we need to put it in writing, then we can do a small contract. I don't have a problem with that. Is it something you could draw up, take care of as a provision?
Yeah,
We have human resources people that
yeah.
Or, yeah.
If you feel you need it, but this job doesn't require that.
I know,
That's not above and beyond.
but Carl, what I'm saying is he's being hired to do those jobs.
Then he's not being hired to do that
Right,
job.
then we didn't advertise for, you advertised for a fire inspector. You advertised for a building inspector 3, that's who applied, that's what he's
He will
certified
be working
for.
under Bill with that particular type of stuff.
So if you wanna do another
But a lot of this other work that this individual is gonna have to do, he has to have the classes.
But in order to do that, he has
Then
to
we
be
should have had
hired
the
under a
enforcement safety officer position filled. That one was the one that had the requirements.
We've said right along the thing.
That's not what this position is.
That's my question. Thank you.
The thing is we've been trying, we've said right along, the individual needs to be hired for this particular position. Has to be able to go out and inspect fire safeties, certificate of occupancies, building code inspections, and the works. We can't have somebody who's going to come in. What does building Codes Inspector 3 addressed. We did it the last time under type 2, and we were told, no, we couldn't do it that way. Then we were told we had to go this way, to type 3. I'd like to get it cleared up here tonight. The individual we're going to hire is going to have to be hired specifically to handle fire inspections, certificate of occupancies, code enforcement inspections under the current inspector.
But what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to go back to civil service and list all of those out and ask civil service what specific job title covers all of those things. That's what you'll end up having to do, unfortunately.
How long is the probationary period?
Don't you need duty?
I told you it was not less than 8 nor more than 26 weeks.
So 26 weeks is 6 months.
But the last time we searched New York State code enforcement, all of the training classes, they didn't start until January 1st.
But 6 months to get you through that period, so, 6 months.
If it doesn't, you can amend it to the training period that you need to get done.
Yeah, I guess we need to know what certificates you want him to have.
He's gonna, whatever he's gonna have to perform those particular.
And who's going to manage his training, scheduling and all that? Bill take care of that? Okay.
It's gonna be totally under Bill's.
Of what certificates he must possess in order to do the actual inspections.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that it doesn't have those requirements in there, but it lists all those activities you're talking about.
I know. But to do it, Bill has to sign off on it.
Yes, Bill would have to sign off on it.
Right.
Right, and Bill has the authority, Bill has the credentials
Yes.
to issue those violations.
Yes.
So this field guy could bring the information back in the short term, and Bill could.
Is that what he's doing? Is that what you planning to do?
He's going to start working under Bill, which he can do certain functions. But he needs to gain the training so that he himself can go and do them without having Bill to have to sign off on everything.
The issue of the violation, he could issue the violation himself as opposed to
Yes.
Bill doing it
that's what I thought.
by proxy now.
Yes.
I see.
But as far as the legal issue, you're going to have to answer that one for me. Because we need an individual in there that can perform this job fully and get the training. And this gentleman definitely,
This guy was appointed, let's get it on, Steve.
well, I put the motion on the floor.
Second.
You did. I seconded to hire a part-time building inspector 3, 5 hours a week, $12 an hour.
Are you sure about the hours? I'm just questioning because we budgeted 35 hours, so I don't know.
For him.
You want to say up to 35? I don't know what you decided.
That'd make him happy.
We have 35 in the budget for next year.
But then we have to deal with the issue.
Let's put it 25 to 35. Leave ourselves.
Full-time if you do that. You got to keep it under 30 hours.
Well, it's not
I would say-
full-time, but yes, in 2015, it will affect the health insurance.
I'd rather keep
35
it.
is still part-time. But if you're talking about your health insurance in 2015, if it's over 30 hours, yes.
Yeah, so how hard is it next year?
I think
you're working
we
35
can get
hours
it
all
done
year
in
to
30
pull it
Up to
back.
30.
First and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I am opposed to not hiring local people. I just want that stated. Appreciate what the committee did, but that's how I felt about that.
So are you a nay, or you just wanted to know that you're opposed to not hiring local people?
I'm a nay.
Let's see here. There was extensive discussion regarding a problem at Colts Point. I'm going to leave it that issue.
continued up to the day.
Yeah. The committee requests by unanimous vote, town board consider amending the existing junkyard law to comply with the New York State Property Maintenance Code. Town law allows 2 unregistered motor vehicles on properties, while the state law allows only 1. The committee also requests the board consider language within the amendment that makes sure this one unregistered vehicle is not in a manner of disrepair while stored on private property. The board may also want to discuss other items such as boats and construction equipment when this law is open for amendment. The committee requests by unanimous vote the town board consider amending the existing parking ordinance to prohibit the parking of trailers unattached to motor vehicles and parking spaces on town-owned properties. The committee understands the board may discuss time limits to allow this parking, but does not think streets or town property should be used for extended storage of trailers. There may need to be a variance procedure for special events such as 4th of July. Is that something you want to go over, Matt, in your minutes? Did you get the paperwork that Mark sent you and everything?
I did, and I talked to him. I have the draft, you have a meeting next week, the draft on the junkyard part, I worked on today, and the parking I'll have to do next week.
Okay, then we can...
I didn't have a problem with any of it. The one thing I was going to ask you is that the parking lots, the public street parking part would come under the general parking local law that we have. And I was looking at it, we can put in, because the parking lots and things like that are somewhat different, they're not streets, and it's not a BTL issue. So it'll be a local law in and of itself. I mean, it's very simple, it's a few paragraphs, it's not.
I think, too, the way it's worded right here, it should have stated, we're talking town-owned parking lot.
Right. So I was thinking beach out here, the new one to be built.
Behind the buildings.
Yeah, those are the parking lots you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
The document you sent us said boat trailers. It's not boat trailers, it's trailers. Okay?
Trailers.
Don't put the word boat in front of it. Any trailer.
Any kind of hits you.
Yeah, and the one you sent me from, it said boat trailer.
Oh, yeah, I didn't listen. We talked about the boat trailer.
Okay, well, we don't want, we want trailers.
Yeah.
Okay.
My question in that regard is, say you have somebody rebuilding one of the buildings on Macomb Street. You have a contractor that's going to take 6 months to rebuild it. He has an equipment trailer that's legally registered in the state. He parks it on the main street, whatever, in front of the building, and he's working out of that trailer. Is he expected to move that trailer every single night, go back and forth to work on that building?
I can answer you that in
We would have
many or most is probably the different, or wrong thing to say, but in a lot of communities, especially in the downtown area, the answer is yes. And even, I can give, for example, Glens Falls, they will ticket a ongoing construction project if the truck eats up the parking spots all day.
There would be one thing if it's parked in an off-street parking spot other than on-street parking spot.
It's tough. When they did Libby's, I had a hard time getting through there with the bus. When they were all working on Libby's Bakery, I mean, it was...
Okay, so you'll bring that
I understand that.
forth
The
and
thing is you can't,
have something on it for next board meeting?
if it's legally registered,
Before that,
we're going to take.
Okay.
You go to the public hearing. The other question was, is it just trailers on their own or trailers attached to vehicles? In transit.
Go ahead. I would ask Mark, professional courtesy before.
I thought of this after I talked to him.
Yeah, what we're dealing with where the buildings coming in are unattached.
Yeah, so I
The
thought.
ones that are
Attached, we would kind of define as in transit.
And just since I have the courtesy of the court, really, we spoke about various procedures with 4th of July down the park, perhaps for construction projects, et cetera. There could be a permit procedure or various procedure where some entity of the town could grant permission for a variance on that.
maybe we could possibly do a possible permit period.
Yeah. Just my point is
Yeah, it's a good point.
the city of Glens Falls may have an issue.
Yeah.
We're far from
Oh, yeah.
city of Glens Falls. And if we have somebody working in town renovating something and they need to have equipment there.
I totally agree
It's a
with
lot different. I mean, it's not 40 years ago when you couldn't find a parking spot and die.
Yeah, it's not apples and apples, I agree.
But there's a possibility of maybe doing something like having permitting.
No, I think that's really valid.
If it's not being utilized for something, I can understand it, but if it's being utilized for a project, what do you include that in part of the building permit? Or attach it to it somehow or something like that?
That's a good idea.
Wouldn't officers still have discretion though, over whether or not to ticket the car? I mean, if they know the situation, particular situation.
But under the vehicle and traffic law, if it's registered, it's legal to be there.
Yeah.
It's going to be under a local law, whatever you do to try.
Okay, you will get in touch with us to set up the public hearings and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. At next committee meeting, hope to have a conversation about the steps the town and police are taking to improve public safety within the schools and what is currently taking place with the Ticonderoga Police Department and the schools at this time. We should have a pretty good report for that next month. Meeting adjourned at 6:15 p.m. Next meeting is October 28th at 5 p.m.
Anything on library, cable TV?
No.
Insurance, contract negotiation. On to the supervisor's update.
Could I step backwards? It's not really for me, but did they get in touch with you in regards to more shells falling?
Yeah.
Okay, I told them to get in touch with you, and I think they need to replace, secure it all, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Tanya, actually.
Okay. Several things I forgot to mention. First of all, it's a reminder, but I think you alluded to it with the parking, that the Halloween Fest is Thursday, October 31st, here in Ticonderoga. Trick-or-treating, 3 to 4:30 p.m. downtown. And check with the Chamber of Commerce for a detailed list of events, but this is our annual event, and I'm sure the whole entire downtown will be full. We also have the Ticonderoga Coalition, which is the anti-drug effort, really rolling out and moving forward. Got a number of task force groups, and one of them, the Action Group, and this alludes also to your police report too, is to start using the addressing property maintenance issues as part of the drug enforcement. And this will be referred to as here, and we've had a number of complaints from people who live in neighborhoods that are unkept, problems, and the committee has asked that we start implementing the nuisance law to help address some of these property maintenance issues. They're often related to substance abuse issues, and so as a response to that, the Neighborhood Action Campaign will become a function of the supervisor's office, and let me get this in order. Concerned citizens and professionals of the Ticonderoga community recognize the devastating local effects of substance abuse, and these stakeholders formed into the Ticonderoga Community Coalition under the leadership of the town government. The coalition is committed to take steps and address issues impacting the quality of life, health, and safety of everyone in the community. The coalition strives to empower all citizens to work together to effect positive change in the community. Public feedback has raised awareness of concerns in individual neighborhoods. These neighborhoods are troubled by individual properties where criminal activity, including substance abuse violations and other property maintenance issues, are seriously affecting everyone's health and safety. The Neighborhood Action Campaign will address complaints and make positive improvements in the community as a whole. Leadership of this Neighborhood Action Campaign will become a function of the supervisor's office. On a monthly basis, the supervisor will gather with enforcement officials to discuss complaints by citizens and review records held by individual departments. The supervisor will use every tool available through local ordinance, state law, and other resources to hold owners and residents accountable for properties that are the center of crime, disorder, and decay in our neighborhoods. So it's the Action Now committee of the Anti-Drug Coalition is moving forward and definitely wants to make a strong message and take some strong steps. And they're also to be aware of the Ticonderoga Police Department is getting ready for a Take Back Day. So you can empty out your medicine cabinets, and any prescription drugs can be turned into the Ticonderoga Police Department Saturday, October 26th from 10 to 2. There will also be a collection site at Scroom Lake Town Hall. But if you want more information, you can either call my office or call the chief. Sorry about that, in case I'm not available. So you'll see an ad in the newspaper coming out with that as well. So just to give you a heads up on that. The Neighborhood Action Campaign will come up with a complaint form and draft form, and for folks to be able to submit information relates to us. So just to give you an idea, a heads up on that. New York State Department of Transportation, met with them, it was about 3 weeks ago. Route 22 and the Fort intersection. They have been tracking the accidents that have been happening there. In the last 5 years, there seems to be an increase in incidences even after the caution light was put out there. So the DOT has determined that they will make the Fort Ticonderoga and Route 22 intersection a four-way stop to prevent accidents. What they'll be doing, the Fort Road.
Yeah, 22.
The end of Montcalm Street, where you cross over Route 22 to go to the Fort, that intersection of Route 22 and Fort Ticonderoga.
I want to make it clear. I want to make it clear, as far as I'm concerned, that it is an extremely bad choice to do that.
Terrible idea.
There are a number of other things that could be done. It would be much safer. All it's going to do is going to create more accidents.
That's going to create massive
rumble strips in advance.
I did send those after I'd spoken to you and the EMS and fire department and your suggestions. I did send those, a written request for rumbles, that it was suggested by the above mentioned, that for rumble strips and reducing the speed there to 45 miles an hour. His response was that rumble strips won't be used there. They're not guaranteed. So we can make an effort and send another letter explaining exactly how you feel.
See what a school bus looks like when a tractor trailer hits the back of it.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Okay?
So we build a bypass and put stop signs on it.
I'm just telling you.
Where we're at.
There's 2 or 3 cars parked there, whatever the stop sign.
Let's go back right up to the
Or
turn.
something like that, absolutely. And you get a tractor trailer truck coming around that curve at 60 miles an hour. And all you're going to do
They
is
don't need
create a
rumble
huge...
strips. All they got to do is put in
That's
those
insane.
buzz lines. In the south, that's what they did. Instead of using the humps, they put in about a 4-inch buzz lines, and they make them diagonal on the road, and you'll hear them as your tires start to hit.
Exactly.
And it's a lot better than that. It doesn't affect the plows.
It's a depression in it.
Debbie, are they going to have a public hearing or anything
Yeah.
on this?
Didn't mention a public hearing, but we'll send some more official correspondence
we-
to them,
can
to
we
have
have the
them come
lawyers?
and make a presentation. And
Can we have the lawyer send it? I'd like to make a motion that we dispute this greatly.
Absolutely.
I second that. This is a bad idea. Shouldn't have built a bypass if you can put stop signs on it.
Yeah.
It's insane.
That's idiotic.
Consider a light. I mean, even a light would be.
Did they break down why these accidents
light down
happened?
there.
Did they
We do have
look
a
at
light.
the accidents?
He did. He
What?
did.
They would blow right through it.
He did break down why the accidents happened, and he said that the majority of the people who have been in accidents have been hit, said it felt to them like it felt like a four-way stop. They didn't stop and were hit.
Oh, okay. So,
I'm trying to think of where else
There's two stop signs prior, stop ahead, there's a stop sign and a light right there. I mean,
Can I ask, courtesy of the Florida, Mark Johnson? for just a
Sure.
moment?
Well, you're in the middle of a resolution. Do you want to finish your resolution
I don't
first?
know what
The
one
board
it
is
was.
against this four-way stop?
yes, we should.
You wanna do
I
that?
second it.
Unanimous second?
I'm all in.
Yeah, me too.
That's a bad idea. Bad idea.
Okay, if you want to give the floor to Mark.
I'd like to give the floor to Mark, just to ask him a question to,
Somebody second.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
since I've been gone, have things changed there for the determination of what caused the most of the accidents are?
Really, our agency is the one that investigates all accidents at that intersection. The rate of accidents has remained steady since the time Chief Cook was on the job. That being between 3 and 6 personal injury accidents every single year at that intersection. Approximately 50% of those accidents are due to fail to stop at a stop sign, where the person coming off either the Fort Road or Mount Common Street do not stop at all for that stop sign. The other 50% of those accidents are attributed to failure to yield the right-of-way, which is what the engineer with the Department of Transportation is referring to, where the car will come to a stop. It'll probably be someone not from the area, assuming it's a four-way intersection, and they'll move right out into the intersection at a low speed and get struck within the intersection. Really, it's pretty much a 50-50 split, but there is a high frequency of accidents at that intersection.
And the thing that the state is not taking into account is the limited sight distance. At 55-mile-an-hour lane, limited sight distance, regardless. They're disregarding the limited sight distance.
Chief Cook, with his experience, and I will agree with him totally, once a year when we have a Christmas train, I assign officers to do traffic control in that intersection and also at the 4th of July. That is the most dangerous location to do traffic control because of the curve in the road slightly before the intersection if you're coming from towards Ticonderoga, which you don't have a lot of reaction time once you round that turn to get there. I really think that if this goes through, it may decrease the number of high-speed collisions for those situations where someone drives right through the intersection. I think the overall collision rate would go up. I'm not an expert, so I can't express that opinion. I think that there are other options, such as spending the extra money and putting a regular traffic signal that's red, yellow, green. If they think that it would be another option.
And
Chief, go ahead, I'm sorry.
my opinion of it is, if not to refute what you're saying, but my opinion is it may help in some small instances, but it's going to create much, much larger instances. And just like I said, if they have a stop sign or a stoplight or whatever the case may be, you are more likely than not, especially during the summer, have a backup of vehicles there. If you have any vehicle coming around that corner, anybody that's not familiar with the area, I mean, it's bad enough being familiar with the area. You're going to look at high-speed rear-end collisions.
And regardless of the actions they take, I really think the town should jump up and down and request a speed limit reduction and couple that whatever actions the state DOT actually looks at doing at that intersection.
Chief,
absolutely ludicrous.
Just on another note, another dangerous spot is a yield sign coming off from the Shanahan Road onto Shore Airport. I had a near miss there myself the other day, and it's the fact that you don't have to stop, and your speed can match that of a car going north on the Shore Airport Road, and he could stay right in your blind spot, and you don't ever see him. I mean, that's something, if they want to look at something to change from a yield to a stop, that would be a good...
There's been a number of
Not a whole lot of
accidents
yield signs around. I'm familiar with a very serious personal injury accident that occurred this year, and that intersection has seen fatal accidents in the past because vehicles failing to yield right away actually having the same speed as the vehicles having right away on Shore Airport Road. I'll agree with you 100% that we should request that they examine whether that can change to stop signs.
Because it's very, very dangerous.
One of the things that's dangerous there is when you pull up, you try to look to the south in them guardrails. You can, I have a SUV, and you can just about see over top of that. Roughly, you got to pull out there. Looking the other way, it's dangerous, but not as bad as trying to look and try to figure out if you can get out or not.
Yeah.
Not only, if I'm not mistaken, not only is there a limited sight distance as far as with the curve down on 22, but also you have a slight rise.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to get out there.
It's bad enough that some of the road signs are in the way of the traffic. The DOT road signs are and have been for years.
So we'll send a letter and have him come up and address the board, or have him come up to a police emergency services meeting to explain.
If they will.
Or explain,
The way it was explained to me is that it was a done deal and that was what they're going to do.
I was under that impression too, but it doesn't hurt to at least send a letter that we're not happy
Go to the
about.
next level then.
I just think as a town, we send a letter saying and then something happens, they're liable, they're on notice.
And he did pass along the request for reducing it to a 45 mile an hour
That's a
zone.
great idea.
So, but we'll have to, we will be notified separately.
They rejected that. They rejected that.
Years ago, they rejected that.
They did.
We'd offered.
Well, they may look again, because of the number of accidents. They've been tracking them since 2001 to July of this year, and there have been 29 accidents. And actually, 12, that only goes up to 2012. It doesn't even consider 2013 accidents. And the day after he left, there was another accident.
I know that. Was that.
And I did notify him of that, so.
There's been at least probably a half dozen fatalities at that intersection over the years, at least.
That was only item number 2, so I'll dash through the rest of these. Let's see, we've got a list on that with the street. Oh, just speaking of the holiday train, we just got notification from Canadian Pacific of the holiday train arriving again here in Ticonderoga. And they also donate food to local food pantries. However, the date of the arrival in Ticonderoga in this area is on Thanksgiving Day. Thursday, November 28th.
It's supper time.
At 3:10 p.m.
Close to supper time.
So, there you have it.
That won't be happy.
We love the holiday train, and we love that they support local food pantries, and that's what the holiday train is all about. But, we could all get there before Thanksgiving dinner and hail the train and home and eat. Halloween Fest, Ragnar Relay thanked Ticonderoga greatly. They had their relay race is growing every year. They're coming back next fall. Let's see, Essex County, I am working with a request from the emergency services and fire departments on the Lord Howe Street Bridge. The county put a weight restriction on there, on the Lord Howe Street Bridge, so much so that many of the emergency vehicles are too heavy to go over it. So, which means that could potentially cause a 10-minute increase in response time to emergencies, accidents, or fire. And so I did have my first initial meeting with Essex County, Tony Levine from Highway, and we did come up with, he and I did come up with a couple of options that we are working on. So we're trying to work with the county to get these repairs expedited and to get this Lord Howe Street Bridge on the county bridge bond list. So the options so far are a temporary bridge, and there will be some coming available, which would take a little while. There's also an effort on state aid for local bridges called SALB. It's a New York State effort. That could be a source of money. Prior to that, what we would have to do is also to try to get the Lord Howe Street Bridge listed on the county bridge bond, which means it would, some of the other towns' bridges would have to be removed. However, our bridge is in the center of a population, and there are some bridges that are off in the woods and not as heavily traveled and used as ours, so there's a chance we can get it on the list. So that's the third option. The fourth option is to go to the County Board of Supervisors and the county manager and request that the bridge bond be expanded and be increased. So what it's looking like, the temporary bridge will be a good option for starters, so just so we know we're working on that.
One thing in regards to bridges, my understanding is the Montcalm Street Bridge up by towards Agway in a few years is slated to be worked on. That would be huge, even more so than Tower Avenue. I mean,
Tower Avenue is for next year.
Yeah, and then the following year is the other one, right?
Yeah, yes it is, but it's an excellent shape compared with a number of other bridges in the county.
I'm just saying, that's going to be devastating to traffic flow.
Oh, yeah.
The Montcalm Street Bridge.
But they're not completely doing that bridge, right? They're just surface? They're not taking that bridge out?
I don't know, as long as...
Like the other ones are completely coming out?
It's could potentially be redesigned and resecured underneath there, so we are working on the bridge issue. The rest of the information you can look over yourself. Oh, I did ask about any implications to the county and the towns from the federal government shutdown, and the only response I got was from Public Health to say that the WIC program will be affected, women and children. It's federally funded. However, the state will step up to secure WIC food and milk for women and children through the end of October. So that's pretty much the highlight. Just to throw this out here, you may or may not have noticed and taken any attention to the Champlain Hudson Power Express. It's the electrical transmission line from Canada to New York City that'll travel through our area via Lake Champlain. It affects a number of counties all the way down to New York City. So the message I received said that there would be no local electrical benefit. However, the project itself will bring lots of business. So I have contact information and web links for anybody who wants to find out more about the project. And it's basically getting high voltage electrical power from Canada to New York City, going down to Champlain. And the project has been approved by the Public Service Commission. So.
Make sure they go under the cables of the ferry, huh?
Hopefully they
yeah.
Joking.
You're joking, but no, that's
that was smart. Sure. We had a cable ferry.
Consideration.
They run it in the winter and the summer to wake up.
Am I missing anything?
They drop it.
Report of the department heads, budget officer, Carla.
First thing I have is interfund advances as per general municipal law 9A to be adopted for abstract 10, 2013. First is from general to the capital project Goose Lake Reservoir, H36 for $9,582.50. The funds will be reimbursed with ESC financing. The second is from general to the John Street Sewer Stormwater Separation Project, CD17 for $95,202. And all those funds will be reimbursed with OCR grant funds. The third is from the general to the capital project St. Clair Main Street Sewer Stormwater Separation, $1,472.50, and the funds will be reimbursed with financing. The fourth is from general to the capital project FEMA, the PRB, and water breaks, H43 for $7,954.25. Funds will be reimbursed by FEMA. The fifth is from general to the Park Avenue Sewer, SSO2, $5,150.81, and the funds will be reimbursed with rents. The sixth is from general to the Commerce Park Sewer, SSO6, $2,739.56, and the funds will be reimbursed with rents.
I'll move it.
Second.
Second. Discussion?
How long does it take to get reimbursed by rent for these things?
We just sent out water and sewer billing.
Rents are the bills.
So by the end of the month.
Water
they
bills.
should-
Oh, that
They
fits?
should receive, yeah.
That fits. Oh.
Because the billing just came out for the October 1st. So
Fantastic, okay. Thank
just-
you.
that's normally, I mean, that's how.
Okay, thanks.
And one other comment, we do these every month, and this is another source of public information for people who want to know what money is being spent for what project. We announce these, we read them every month. They're in print, available for anybody who's interested in the finances. So just to reinforce how this is an open government policy here on this board. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
In the Fitzgerald Morris Baker and Birth, in her general matters, we had discussed creating a capital reserve for building improvement. We wondered if we could use the current reserve we had for building improvement, or if we needed to establish a new one in regards to this new multi-purpose building that we're thinking about doing. So in order to be specific about it, we would have to create a new reserve, and we would need the maximum cost of the project to be included in the resolution. So that is something we can do down the road when you guys decide what to do. But it would be a separate reserve than the one we currently have.
So it'd still be buildings, but it'd just be its own reserve for that particular piece of
It'd be
property?
specific, specific for, whatever building it was you were and specifically of how much money you would spend. The second one you had me look into was a capital reserve fund for the highway improvements. Now, according to the general municipal law, it will not work for relating to repairs or general repairs of roads as a result of snow and ice. So we wouldn't be able to put one aside. We were thinking of doing it for paving. That's an annual,
Right, it's an ongoing thing.
ongoing project. So there wouldn't be any kind of a reserve we could put away just for specific year-to-year projects like that. So basically, they're saying you're saving tax money excessively for things that should just be going into your regular running budget and approving. So we won't be able to do that one. The last thing I have is we had advertised, we have a continuing advertising for a part-time senior bus driver. We currently have our full-time driver and one fill-in, and we were using another town worker to fill in, and they're no longer able to help us out. So we have an instance in December where our part-timer is already booked at the county.
The end of November and December.
So we do have an application from Frederick Hammond, and he used to be our substitute bus driver. And he's willing to come on board. So I'd like someone to do a resolution to hire Fred Hammond as a part-time bus driver at $10 an hour.
I would move that.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
I just want to comment, that's all. I'm not against having him come on, I'm just wondering why we couldn't ask somebody else that's working for the town to do that on an occasional basis. I don't know. Who was it that was doing it on an occasional basis?
Marge.
margin.
And we definitely could. We have asked in the past some employees from the beautification crew if they would be willing to do it. We've never trained anyone from those departments to do it. But
I guess we're looking year-round. We run into a little reluctance sometimes with building the grounds in the winter, as far as we're just trying to make sure that the bus moves down the road, basically.
She's taking another job, she's working in sewers.
Yes, yeah, and so,
And I can understand that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if we're employing somebody, or hiring somebody else to do something that they can do.
Yeah, the other thing with those workers is during the summertime, they wouldn't be able to fill in because they're already doing their other duties. We just thought that with the amount of time that we've had to cover this year, someone who could...
probably going to be more next year because of her...
Just brought up for discussion,
Yeah.
that's all.
Absolutely. Yes, we could if there was someone available.
So you've got a first and a second to hire him.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? It carries.
You gonna bring up the FOIL policy? You gonna do the FOIL policy?
Yeah.
The sidewalk policy already done, so I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Town clerk, Tanya?
In your packet also, there is a policy that, I don't actually want to bring it in tonight because I have not read it, because I just got it. But we need to actually adopt our own policy for FOIL requests. I have always just gone by the state rules and regulations. And basically, this policy is going to mirror those. But I just want to read through it and make sure that, so probably our next meeting, I'll
The
just
next
ask
meeting.
and accept it after I'm done reading it. I have our major copier, which is in the town clerk's office, is up, its lease is up next month, and I've been searching for the last 4 or 5 months for a replacement. I've never had to bring it to you guys before, but because of the new procurement policy and the rate that it is, I have 3 verbal quotes, and I have settled on 1. And I would just like a resolution from the board. It will be a comparable copier to what we have now. One place could not even give me a comparable copier. The other one was actually more expensive than the one I settled on. So I'd like to have a resolution to enter an agreement with Office Systems for the lease of the new copier, $60 piece for the new copier. That one is, it's less than what I'm paying now, so.
Good.
So,
It's just an upgraded model of what we have now. I wanted to keep with it because it was a good function.
Yeah, works good. I'll move that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That carries.
Thank you. Maybe I don't have to, or you're not getting.
No capitals on that, man?
She copies it up for us, so
That's
I have to give her that one.
that's it.
Okay. Matt, legal counsel?
It was a busy month.
I guess it was.
I was here a few days this week. Real quick, I'll hit some of the things here. The Armory, I just jotted down a note last time. We had a good discussion last month about the lease and things like that. We didn't direct any changes or anything to that lease, so I
Not
just,
this year, no. And I think we worked through that. Didn't we, Tanya, how that's going to work?
not to dig up
Well,
a long discussion.
Okay, we're okay with that. We're fine, yeah.
well, there is one little thing that should be added in, that it should be in print, that the Armory is also a Red Cross emergency site. We spoke about that with Silver Bay after the first contract. They said they were not at all opposed to that and
Yeah.
just put it in the contract.
Yeah.
They have 20 or 25 cots there already, Red Cross does, and down in the basement. And it is so if it needs to be in the contract. slip
Yeah,
that in.
David said it was no problem. He also is a facility, so he'd be tied up if anything happened at Silver Bay, and we can do what we want. But actually, Dan has done quite a bit of research on that, and that is already listed as, the county as that type of place. They have a lot of resources for that. If something happens, they can have 200 cots here tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing what they can do, so. Anyway, we won't go on.
No, that's an easy
Yeah.
one paragraph. And
Okay.
Doesn't mess up too much. The airport refueling, Steve had reached out to me. I did get the specs on Tuesday.
Okay.
From Schumacher. He gave me the beginning stuff I need. He's going to need to send me more stuff, but that got us started on
Okay.
getting fuel licenses and fuel operator. Tin Pan Alley, I was contacted, and I try to be a little delicate with these because there is a lot going on, and I realize that the work we do gets billed back to the town. So I'm always a little hesitant when somebody outside just directly contacts me and doesn't come through the town. I know that you guys dictate work. People just know that we represent the town, so they call. And so I told them, the broker's been calling me every couple days on this, and I have not called her back, not to offend her, but because it's your time.
And what is Tin Pan Alley? What is it?
It's an extension of George Street, as I understand it, heads out to the lake. And
No, it's...
Cross Water Street.
It crosses Water Street.
That's right by you,
It's below
Down
my house.
on the water side.
yeah, there's the house that was built there, and I remember seeing this subdivision map years ago, and I don't know why, but
There was 3 lots, wasn't it?
yeah, it looks like they were combined into one, or at least
Yes.
just one house is built there.
Right.
That house is built over the line and is in the town's right of way. That's
The
pretty-
house or the garage? Yeah.
The garage is a couple feet over the line on the town's right of way. So that property is in the process of being sold right now. They had a survey done, and the survey kicked up the fact that it's over. That was,
Is that the Burke property?
Right across the road, it was the empty field, right across from
what
where
name did you say?
The Burke property?
I think it is.
Okay.
it used to be on, yeah. It was Descenzo that sold it to these.
So, I mean, I put in the report, I don't know what the town wants to do. It's not an overnight fix, because we can't just give it to them.
How far over the line are they?
It's a couple feet. I've got maps here. If anybody wants to see a bigger map, I gave you the reduced map, but I do have the surveyor sent me a,
He doesn't want to buy the boat launch too, does he?
It used to be the town boat launch.
Yeah. Town
It
boat.
was.
this is a good 2 or 3 feet over.
Yeah,
How big is that lot?
pretty good size.
It's not big enough to build on.
Not buildable?
I used to fish off that dock.
Is it a road? I mean,
Yeah,
is
it's
The
there-
just a
road
road
goes right down to the...
Yeah, there's access to neighboring property, right? From what I see here.
Yes.
There's driveways and things down it.
It used to be paved into the lake. That was the,
And
That was-
one of the things I was going to bring up on that particular street, I didn't bring it up tonight, was possibly putting up a block rated in past the private owner's driveway on our property, because there've been people that drop boats in right there.
the local people, I bring a canoe down there and put a canoe launch it there.
Yeah, but with all these other issues coming up, private boat launches.
That would be outside of what I'm doing.
Okay, no, I know, I'm just saying.
So I don't know, again, I'm always cognizant of the cost of things, and this is not a situation created by the town. I just want to bring it to your attention, because I don't know how you want me to respond to that. If they're looking to close and they've got encroachment, it's a title issue, they've got title defect, because of the maps and the way they built the garage.
Man, I don't think it's ever.
Will you have a recommendation for us, or give us some more information on it? Or it should be, anything should be at their expense, it's not...
Well, that was my first recommendation.
You know,
So they build on town property, and the neighbor someplace else wants to build, and this is not encroaching on his property? He's just letting us know?
No, they're selling
No,
it. They're
no,
selling.
they're selling.
The house that's for sale, the garage is over the line on our property.
Oh.
And the survey would be on that.
Oh.
Is it where Helen used to live?
so the option is what, make them remove the garage, stop the sale, make them move the garage? and,
Can't do
you
it.
know, So that's not feasible. We-
Can't do it either.
And it is a highway right of way. So it would take a little bit of procedure for us to actually be able to grant them. Even if we just wanted to grant an easement, it's a little bit of a process. Because it's highway. It's not just a piece of property we own.
Oh,
It's a
I see,
highway.
it's highway.
Then you'd have to figure out do we know specifically where our right-of-way is?
Yeah.
As opposed to what we own?
Yeah.
Or is it
They've
what I'm
got,
saying?
the survey's right here and surveyed. It is doable. It's gonna take a little time, and I know they're hot to trot to close.
Well.
There's not a lot we can do about that. I mean, we can help them out,
It has to be all at their expense, starting from the first phone call.
Okay, so I'll get back to them. I mean, it's not something we need to delay on months to months. I mean, we can get back to you for the next meeting, but I wasn't going to do anything until I came to the board.
On that map, does it show how large a piece of property that
It does.
Our property is?
Yes.
How large is it?
How big our piece is?
Yes.
In terms of acreage?
Yeah.
I know it's not that big.
I didn't know if it showed any dimensions or acreage.
It just shows the right of way. But here's the map, if anybody would like to see it. It's about, again, it's 2-3 feet over by 30 feet. So it averages from probably a foot over to maybe 2 feet by 30 feet. So it's, what?
So this is still a seasonal resident
I don't know if it's
residency? It's not someone
He doesn't live there year-round.
looking to relocate,
No.
so, okay.
Him and his
So we're
wife just
not,
come
so
up
this
from time to time.
delay won't
No, it looks like it's
hold up a
two
year-round
couples that
resident.
are, if I remember correctly, two couples I think are buying it. So I'm guessing it would be,
Because this is our right of way right here?
it is, this whole thing right here is the right.
Oh, okay, this whole thing, okay.
So the hatched area, from what I can gather, looking at the maps, a prior surveyor appears to have missurveyed it. But there was a note on the prior survey that they weren't to build within this quote-unquote error. They did. They built within this error area, and that's resulted in this defect. The map, the old village map, which is the 1808 village map I have here, is pretty clear as to where the lot lines are.
Okay.
The survey was done 15 years ago. The place was built, it looks like, and it went over that line.
If we give up this property, can we still run a snowplow? Can we still get fire equipment? Are we gonna have to build another road to make it legal?
I don't believe we plow that.
I don't know if you do or don't.
I don't think we do. I've never seen it plowed by the town.
You know, you're seeing that up on Bear Pond where the road doesn't sustain certain equipment and we're gonna have to do that. We're not gonna get caught in this, are we?
We'll have to maintain it if they've got, houses down there. And doesn't the fire department fill up there once in a while? or-
They can use it, they have used it before. They have hydrants there.
I don't know when it was built, but it's not brand new. from what I understand.
Actually,
I just drove down in there a couple of days
the
ago
lawn
just
in there.
to check it out.
Oh, okay.
But we don't plow it, right?
Probably 10, 15 years ago.
Would this be a good thing to abandon?
No.
No.
I think we got to put signs up and direct people to it. It might be an
Why?
attraction.
You want me to fix it?
It's a
So
bowl.
you'll fix it at their...
You're okay fixing it?
You're okay-
It hasn't been maintained and it's all...
I'm okay with you getting the information to
This is
us
Jeff lives up
and
here.
Yes.
in good
This is the
faith
church,
and
right
just make
there.
sure that it's okay
Right
for
across.
us to do that at their expense.
Shockingly, we may need them to appraise that little section. Or their appraiser, because they have to pay now.
That's fine.
You're gonna have to.
So it sounds crazy, but I'm not trying to overcomplicate it. but
1 or
that's-
2 foot's
it's an
Yeah,
highway
no,
to begin with.
1 or 2 foot's not gonna hurt that right away.
Thank God it's not.
It's town right away.
This is 8.9 feet.
All right, what do you have next?
It's a cinder road.
This is the...
We can do the map review after, it's 10 to 9 now.
You go,
Oh.
you
You
want?
bring all these guest speakers in for an hour and a half and now you're rushing us. huh?
My speakers.
Oh, let's have somebody talk about.
Do your homework. Do your
Bring up a
homework during
slideshow.
the day. Anything else, Matt?
No, no,
Jesus,
you-
now town business, we're gonna rush.
No, I'm not rushing you.
I'm just harassing you there. Go ahead.
I know.
No,
I'd like to
she
see
is,
the
the
map
boss.
too.
So I will reach out to them and get you the plan to fix it without
Okay.
getting crazy. Talk about the CO. Birnbaum Road, we did get a description from, not Mike, from John Deming, and I sent back the petition, or the application to him. He got that today, just because we have the description of everything done. So the process would be, you don't do anything tonight, but he will get that application in, and then we'll hold public, or we'll have our resolution to ask the county superintendent to take their action. I did email him today, the one thing I do need, just like past highway stuff we've dealt with, I need the evidence. We've got to have something in the record here to support why we're doing this. Some pictures. I drafted it the best I could based on what he told me, but I did that once before, and I'm not doing it again. He's going to give us evidence. It's going to be here to take action.
I got a question. What will happen if somebody later on builds right off the side of that road?
going back up and over,
Yeah.
they'd have to come back to lift that QA.
I have heard that the people, the owners of the land are possibly looking to parcel it off.
Well, and now you're bringing up something that I specifically asked them, and they said no.
Well,
So if
I
that's
wanna
the
check
case,
with them,
we
make
need to
sure.
know that right now, because we do not want to go down that path if that is in fact the case.
I'll see if I
We've done this
can
before.
catch him and ask him.
Be very sure, because
Is
we're
it-
going to send notices
I
to all
just
these
found this
owners.
out.
Is it a highway by use or a fee road?
We don't have any deeds, so
So it's a highway by
Yeah.
use.
I'm just, you know how I want to be there. Those questions have got to be answered, so I'm going to write it down too. And we need to know that. So that can be taken care of. Took care of the local laws. The wells, just to report, we did have a good discussion with IP about it, just to keep them in the loop. I thought it was a good lunch. Dave, I didn't get to email you to say thank you for the lunch, it was very good. Neighbors, we talked about everything. Highway DEC, we did meet last week, the tank was pulled. It was a pretty extensive dig. I was there for a while, I eventually had to leave, but from what I understand, they did not get to a point of complete removal. I gave you my report based on what I saw when I was there. We're waiting to hear back from DEC on what the next course of action is. There was some discussion about, toxic sites and tanks still being in the ground. It's not true.
Good.
It's false. I went up afterwards yesterday and went right to him.
Caught a break.
Tire smoking in the parking lot. I found out. But we walked the site, there isn't one. From what I understand, there may have been tanks in the past. When they were pulled, there's probably remnant that's in the ground, which would stand to reason with the clay. It's just going to sit on top of that clay and not go anywhere. For the same scientific reason that we're talking about with the wells, it won't penetrate. I have my beliefs as to whether or not and how much that tank possibly could have leaked. But the fact of the matter is there was still stuff in the ground. It was spiking up, and I think I threw the numbers out there into the 320 parts per million when we were standing there, which is, you can smell it. That's outside Stewart's or someplace and you spill it. It's that type of level. So
From old tanks, old.
it was flowing in. It was coming in from outside, and then that's part of my report that I gave you. The water was just coming in like a stream. So
Yeah, I saw it coming in, but the fuel,
yeah, that's where it was coming from, on-site, different from this tank. But at the end of the day,
There had been an old fuel tank right on the corner of that building,
Yeah.
right underneath.
he said two of them.
Basically, right underneath where the other one is
Yeah.
placed, years and years and years ago.
Yeah. The transfer station, I had gotten back to you guys on that. Code enforcement, I listed you there, the ones that we're dealing with. We are going to meet with AES, hopefully next week. That's the plan right now, to get up and get those inspections done. There really is only 3 of them. One I think can be dealt with an appearance ticket. And I did talk to Bill, but I'm going to follow up on that again. That's on Lake George Ave, 135. I think somebody pulled out a mobile home and left a bunch of stuff behind. That's really an appearance ticket issue. We don't need to go to Supreme Court for that. That would be killing mosquitoes with an atomic bomb. Coates Point, that is one that would actually caused a delay today because I got more information yesterday, but I was up here. Sue had reached out to me about drafting a letter to them, the people out there, and I'll do that. In August, Bill sent me down a copy of a fax from the APA on that whole thing. I didn't look at the end date. I saw August date. I figured it was fax from this year. It was actually August of 2012. So I went back to the APA, talked to Doug Miller. Thereafter, I got and I sent it to you. All it was an envelope with a decision and a business card, not a letter, which, no explanation or anything, that dismissed that prior permit. So the Coates Point development out there, that whole area does not have an APA permit. And fast forward to now, just this past week, this week, we got yet another letter from the APA, and I included in the report. For the life of me, can't figure it out. At the first instance, they say it's not a violation, so you're fine. But the very end of it, they say, oh, by the way, if you do anything on this property, any land use development requires a permit. So on the one hand, I think the first part of the letter is deference to that prior decision that they lost. But But the new part of it is, well, if you do anything out there anyway, you need a permit, and likely needed a permit. So we're just going to put that in a letter and send it to those people out there, because I think the reality is, hopefully, maybe people that are out there that live there are listening, someday it's going to come up. And like we've talked about at the committee, right now you got two people looking to connect out there. And you don't necessarily want to hold them up. I get that. I don't separately. Separately, yeah. You don't want to hold them up. And there's likely not enough use for them both to be on one line anyway. But you're going to eventually be faced with another line in the ground. I think we are going to rewrite the contract for that. And those owners that want to connect will have to understand that if a district ever ends up out there, their lines are going to come out and they're going to have to connect. So and they would probably be double paying. So they would be paying as part of the debt or whatever it costs to put in a new district line and to get rid of theirs. That's what they're willing to take. And I think my concern from, some lawsuit down the road of those things goes away. And we're going to want those permits recorded. Because that was part of that old lawsuit with the APA, the lack of notice. We're not going to make that same mistake. So we're working through to get that done. Water and sewer, has been low on the list, but we're working on this. I put water and sewer, it's the sewer ordinance for the committee. And the back truck, I do work with the village of Lake George and the mayor down there. We did have a meeting, met with Walt Lender, and the village is interested in the back truck. So
Excellent.
I told Dave Harrington that once yours is in, and I kind of thought that's how it would be. And they're fine with that too. Once yours is in and you're ready to dispose of it, then the law will allow us to sell directly to the village. So that's where we are now.
Terrific. Back to the first page, certificate of occupancy and the property transfer local law.
I have one. I have it. It's on one page.
Yeah, I mean, Mariah just implemented one and it's
They've had theirs for a
done.
long time.
They've just hired another code enforcement. I really want to move forward on that to give the code enforcement officers an opportunity, give them the tools they need to get these apartments and places cleaned up.
It is.
That was the purpose of
Mark and I were talking
presenting
about
all
it. It is
this.
very unique up here. There are some municipalities that have it. Some of them that have it haven't necessarily enforced it. But downstate is very big. Anybody on Long Island, they've got people that it's their job or they make a living from it of fixing these building code issues. You go to get a CO and somebody finds out you built a deck or you put in an extra kitchen or something, never got a permit. There's people down there that's what they do. They get the permits cleared through. I think they call them expediters. So it is very big downstate. It hasn't been as big upstate, but it's moving this way for just those reasons.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're always enforcing.
Well, there's a lot of conditions in the rental properties. I mean, I see pictures all the time from the code enforcement officer, and they're deplorable living conditions.
Yeah.
I mean, plastic bags securing the roof, so the ceiling, so that water didn't come down. Plastic bags. I mean, these are deplorable conditions, and it needs to be addressed. Better to have the ability to enforce it. So,
it's
better to have the law and be able to address it at some point than to not have it and not do anything.
You know what the difference is put you on your toes instead of your heels. When you're enforcing, you're always on the heels, bringing somebody into court, going to Supreme Court to get an order. Whereas when it's on a sale or a conveyance, the title company is going to pick up on that, and the big one is the mortgage. The bank will not allow a closing to happen without that CO. That is the big impediment. And you get the calls now. Some of the title companies from downstate will call, and right now they get the response, no, you don't need one. If they get that response, now you need one, that's the key, because they won't be able to close without that. It'll be big for the taxpayer. Somebody who's got a property that has a lot of problems isn't going to be very happy about that, because they're not going to be able to close.
I think, I'll speak for myself, they have a moral and ethical obligation to provide decent living conditions for renters. kids, kids in the bedrooms with, the bottom, you open the bottom drawer and rats jump out, open up ovens and it's loaded with cockroaches. It's just deplorable. And we can't address it unless we have these laws in place. So anyway.
Put it on for next month. Get through the drafts. It's just going to happen.
The code enforcement officer has asked for it and asked for it and asked for it, so, we want to...
Can we use that law that he has as a template? Can we use that?
That's what we have. It's all done.
It seemed pretty
Just a copy.
straightforward to me. I read it. Seems good.
Anything else?
Yep, I have one thing. We've done a lot towards working toward leasing or selling our transfer site, but I've been in the process of talking with the Adirondacks Park Agency where we got our permits and renewal for the transfer station. Have received their letter, and if everything sets right, and a permit's been recorded with the county, all that will take for a letter of change at the compaction station to move forward with a construction debris site would be a change in the letter and referencing of what land will be used and a new description. And I would like to request the board approve that Matt can be able to go ahead and work with this right here to see if the possibility is there that we can install our own construction debris site.
Now, I'm guessing you got a Part 360 permit, right?
We have, yes, it's
Does it take an
ours
amendment
is
to that?
called a 8953. Zero.
Your DEC permit?
Everything we got's right there. The rest of the stuff, they said we'll have to get out of the county. And if it's possible, that's all Bill could find, Tanya. I don't know if we have any other records. But according to them, if the permit is in place and was recorded, we'll be able to move the whole thing with a letter.
So to open, we'd open a C&D landfill of our own.
Yep.
Is what you're talking about.
Instead of paying to get rid of it, we'd be
We'd
taking
be
the
able to
money.
put it in ourselves. Instead of paying somebody else to haul it out of here, that tonnage would be left here, and we would take the revenue in. And the projected revenue with that particular site, with everything we've been going in there and out, is substantial.
And then a year or so from now, when our folly of the metal prices that we're getting pennies for comes due and we can start selling it ourselves, we make a significant profit there. So instead of losing money and throwing it away, we might as well make money.
A lot of money to be made up there.
Start bringing some revenue in somehow into the town.
You'll see there was a incident with the EDC there. It turned out to be back in 2004 when we had the burning pit and it got out of control and got into, remember the pile of tires we had? That's what that was about. It wasn't anything that we had done, it was just to get rid of all those tires.
Yeah, we had to pay to clean it up.
And we almost got rid of all the entire power heat.
Can we get fined too on that?
I don't know if we did or not.
I think we did.
It wasn't
In addition to this, and I don't know whether it would be something you can look at down the road, in addition to this, I looked at it a couple of years ago, and we discussed it several times as a stump dump. If the town were to open this, whatever, the C&D, I don't know whether it would be feasible to have an area for stump dump and bring that in as a separate revenue, whatever like that. When it was discussed, or when it was explained to me by DEC, they said you could have three acres on a horizontal plane. Didn't make any difference what the depth was. It could be hundreds of feet deep, as long as you filled over the top of it and stuff as needed.
Yeah, don't hurt, check into it, see if it's possible. Like I said, I know that Governor Pataki, I mean, they paid Essex County. He didn't feel it was appropriate there to be any landfills in the island.
It's not a landfill.
It's not a landfill?
New construction, a landfill is a unit that they should apply as a garbage. Construction debris site is not as quoted in APA law as a landfill. I talked to the gentleman up there, he went through all the stuff, and he goes, outside of the fact of if the permit was filed, if it wasn't, then we'll have to go through about a 3-month permit period.
And you don't need a design, you don't need a
All you would have to do is, on what drawing there is enhance upon what that is. So, yeah, you might have to have it surveyed and show where that's all going to be. They send a plan it right down.
Like the test wells and all that? Are the test wells that are there going to be usable for this, to monitor this too? Or is it going to have to be?
The way he talked, I don't believe that the test wells would have to be used in that particular instance.
Okay.
But you don't want to check it out.
Anything else, Matt? Chief Johns?
Just one quick thing. I have a request to utilize money from the forfeiture account. The drug tactic takeout that Supervisor Maloney mentioned is very valuable that we are sponsoring, and coalition is sponsoring. There's an opportunity for the police to take the drugs off the street. We have paid for an ad in front of the half-page full-color ad, which cost $338 to advertise
Looks like this. Really nicer.
And another $60 is for personal services to staff the police station. I just think this is a perfect opportunity to use money that we stole from drug dealers to actually make an impact on drug issues within the community. A very appropriate use of the money. So for $398, that's what I would like to withdraw from the forfeiture account.
I'll move it.
Thank you.
It's an excellent use for it.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
That's all I have. Unless you have any questions.
Thank you.
Mark, are we adjusting your budget for that, those amounts?
Yes, if I could pay out the $24 for $338 and about $60 on the .1.
Okay, so we'll need a budget adjustment to increase 3120.1A by $60 and 3120.4A by $338.
Correct.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
That was part of
Was that all part of the same thing?
Does this require a resolution?
Put it in the resolution, yeah.
It can all be in the same.
Mark, you were talking about mutual aid. Is that something that comes back to committee when you discuss that with Putnam and all that, or is that?
Yes, no, I know that the town supervisor was in on communications that were going back and forth between Washington County and us about really mutual aid agreements that we have with other law enforcement agencies throughout the state. They're pre-established. As long as an agency requests us to assist them in time of an emergency, then we will always respond, no matter if it's in New York City or in the town of Putnam. But normally it's the town's full, they'll sign on to these, but I don't think that one.
That particular
And
incident.
there's laws pertaining to that.
Well, you know, Hague and Putnam, we don't have state police close. None of us do. So we're going to have opportunities to respond quite often. That is only getting paid by Ticonderoga taxpayers. And I understand this mutual aid thing, but who aids us? Okay?
And really, I would love to debate that. And just one example I can put forward for where Washington County does rub our back a little bit. Next week, we're going to be participating. The school has asked us to go up and do a drill with children for an emergency situation at the school. I don't have an expert that deals with the tactical responses to buildings to make recommendations. The head of the Washington County Sheriff's Department's SWAT team, which is the closest SWAT team, emergency operation team is Washington County, is who we would utilize. And they're going to send a representative up to spend at least 2 days with us to work with our school district to tweak their plan and make it the most efficient and safe plan for our children. So really, the state police, again, is another agency that Sunday night, I was up in Crown Point assisting a trooper who was alone dealing with 5 individuals. The New York State Police, on the other hand, does help us far more than we help them in those situations. So one hand does always wash the other in these situations, and I would really hate to sit down with the law enforcement administrators from any agency to try to put a price tag on the services that are flip-flopped back and forth.
Okay, just curious. At the end of the day, we have to pay for it, and I'm just,
We had a double homicide suicide that we responded to where a trooper was murdered in Crown Point. And the next, as fast as you can imagine, they responded. It was probably 20 minutes before anybody else got there.
I know what they do. It's quality. I'm not questioning the officer's ability. I'm just saying at the end of the day, we're having to pay for these things. Okay, I know that's a bad thing. I'm sorry. I hate to bring it up, but
It's quality of life. It depends on, do you want to be secure and figure out, everybody has to figure out what they pay, what portion would be going towards policing, okay? And do you feel secure in having somebody here? Just same thing I said to a former supervisor. I said, if your daughter was getting raped, would you want somebody there in 2 minutes, or do you want somebody to be there in an hour, hour and a half? Okay? That's bottom line. That's what people have to determine.
Okay, well, I had an
domestic violence.
The officer was over 30 minutes because he was in Putnam. By the time he got to me, he had to go to Hague for a motorcycle accident. He never stayed. Okay?
And you know why that is? Because he has to prioritize what is the most important thing.
That's fine.
But it doesn't make any difference whether that's a state police officer, a sheriff's deputy, or a local police officer. They have to do the same thing. If there was a trooper on that day here, they would have had to done the same thing and bypass you. If it was a sheriff's deputy, they would have had to done the same thing and bypass you. Okay? Makes no difference who it is.
And as long as you have a standing police force, they can be called to in a mutual aid capacity. I mean,
exactly.
And they are. I know that.
I mean, they could call for a ladder truck to go to Malone tonight if they needed it, and it has to go.
It's under state law.
Ladder truck.
Like the fire department, mutual aid, if they need a piece of equipment, they call for it, you have to send it. It's a mutual
aid in the fire department happens. I've seen Hague here, I've seen everybody here helping Ticonderoga, and Ticonderoga helping everybody. That's mutual aid in my head. I see our law enforcement helping everybody. Okay.
But Warren County was up with the canine patrol here a while ago. I mean, Warren County Sheriff had people come up and help.
With what?
There was a canine patrol up here with a help.
Or how much sharing there is.
We'll take it to committee. This is probably not the place.
We'll move on to the end of meeting, approval of the water and sewer reports.
I'll move it.
Second, Councilman Cook. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Approval of supervisor's monthly financial report.
I'll move it.
Councilman Taylor, is there a second?
I'll second.
For discussion, the general Glens Falls National Bank balance, $1,537,291.72. Got a first and a second.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So moved. Motion to pay the bills.
I'll move it.
You signed it, I guess we have to pay.
Councilman Whitford, is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Cook, discussion on the bills? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So moved. Do we don't need an executive, we're good. Okay. End of meeting comments.
One question for Matt. Anything to run the board today?
I can tell you from the FMVF report, looks like there was an exchange of motions, and the oral argument will be coming up because they could not settle out the differences. So it looks like the board dug in its heels and I think John and those guys will have that handled.
Anything else from anybody in the audience?
You don't want me to say anything.
There is one thing that I don't know if you people know, I'm just going to mention that to Mark, that the trains, the CP rails, they're going to be speeding up. They've got bigger cars they're going to be using and so on. There's an awful lot of chemicals and everything going up and down the line. It's going to be moving faster and larger and bigger things. So just something to keep in the back of your mind. Our hazmat drill we had last night, they brought this up, and they're going to try to meet, and I'm not sure, but I believe most of the supervisors are going to be in on it.
She coming to the county to address the Board of Supervisors? Yeah.
Yes, and I believe our hazmat team is also going to try to get in on it, so because we're the ones that's going to be reporting if some of these chemicals.
Oh, yeah, they have to have a plan in place.
Exactly. See, they may have the plan in place, but they don't want to let us know. So if we aren't more or less brought up on speed on it to know what's going on and what they're going to do, we're kind of left out.
You won't know how to respond.
Exactly, and just exactly how they want us to respond. So I'm hoping it's going to be a mutual thing, but just for your people, the information.
Thanks for the heads up, Fred.
You're welcome.
Anything else to come before this board? A motion to adjourn?
I'll move it.
Yeah, second that.
All in favor?
Aye. 35 to 50.
What's that?
That's what they're going to do.
Well,
You have pending business on